Yes. Welcome everybody to this week's episode of the Tech and Chill Show Unplugged. And today's one is going to be a bit special, as always, as we try and keep it special for you guys. And I have with me today, as my special guest collaboration partner today, that's probably going to be the best way to call it. It's Mr. Ryan himself from FailTech. And we are actually streaming both at the same time on our channel. So everyone is going to get engaged and it's going to be absolutely lit. And as you guys know, if you've not experienced a Tech and Chill show before, it's a show where we come live, we bring the community together. Anyone that wants to actually be a fellow creator, that wants to actually collab with me, like Ryan himself today, we do it. And we just talk tech, we chill, we bring the community together, and we actually catch up on whatever's happening in the tech world that has been going on, and also what we are actually going to be seeing in the future, share our opinions, talk about some facts, and actually get you guys involved as well so you don't feel left out. And that is what it is today. So without further ado, let me just allow Ryan to actually introduce himself to everyone. Ryan, over to you.
All right, well, people in my stream, you know me. This is Ben. He's pretty special. He's actually he's really in depth with his comparisons. So if you're really into smartphone cameras, like, he's mad with his comparisons, and he's got access to a lot of modern tech. And I do used tech, so like the opposite. I do really old used tech for like students and people who don't have a lot of money. And Ben does the flagships, the pinnacle,
the polar opposites. Opposites. So definitely this live stream is simultaneously happening on both sides with our channels, and this has been done, not sponsored, but through Restream.io. It was also meant to be happening on Periscope with the Twitter family, but Periscope failed. But it doesn't matter, we want the YouTube family to be up on here, so that's where the action is at. That's where it's lit. That's where we stay communicated and we get everyone involved with what's going on. So let's check who's in the comment section. Yes, on my channel we've got Ambience Lens Photography. Again, thank you for coming through. It says this is lit. Of course we got to keep it fine, we've got to keep it lit, nothing more, nothing less. And definitely one thing about the Tech and Chill show, as you guys know, people that have joined that haven't joined before, this is a show where there's a bit of structure but more organic. You know, we want it to mainly come from just what we've been feeling and experiencing on our tech. And yeah, man, we've got a lot to share. There's been releases, there's been controversial topics that we've also wanted to, you know, discuss and talk about. So this is going to be the platform for it. So yeah, this is what it's going to be. Ryan's been very eager to come on to share some of the things that he's been, you know, seen in the tech scene as well, and also just through his experiences. And even just for us, we are pretty much on the same page as well. So I definitely wanted to kind of bring this forward together, and this should not be a one-time event. This might also end up being a situation where we do actually get a roundtable experience. So it might actually be a free panel guest one time, you know. So there's going to be more that's coming from this, man. So
I am going to pest this man. So I'm on every single stream.
We need it. We need this level of engagement. We need this level of pestering, man. It's definitely gonna make a difference to the whole situation. So who have we got in there as well? So we've got Sean. What's up, Sean? And also we've got Mr. Sam. Shout out to Mr. Sam. He's actually the artist for all the artwork that you're seeing on here as well. There is one very interesting thing, if you guys don't know already. Some people decide to activate Bixby, and Bixby's in my chat. So I've got a digital assistant that's living in my chat at the moment, which is Bixby, which is kind of funny in itself. So shout out to Bixby in the chat. Chester Foster, sweet. I'll be sure to keep an eye out for the roundtable. Yeah, roundtable tech discussion is definitely going to be happening, man. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be absolutely crazy. Anyone in the comment section that's already joining the stream, let us know what the audio levels are, if you can hear both me and Ryan correctly, if the background music is perfect and it's not too loud and you guys can actually hear what we're saying. Give us some feedback and let us know what's going on. Let us know what's going on. Shout out to Concepts Creator in the house, in the building. Hey dude, how's your new camera? New camera will be arriving on Tuesday. Ryan, do you want to share the story? Do you want? I'll let you share the story.
Okay, so basically, Ben and I were having a little pre-stream kind of setup to make sure this all works, and we were talking about Sony cameras, and we talked about the A6300, and Ben was already considering it. I had considered it a while ago and kind of forgotten about it. Yeah. And he was looking for deals, and I found one on eBay, and I was like, "Yeah, there's one here for like $550 or whatever," and he was like, "What?" And then I sent me the link, and literally, I'm gonna have to pull the trigger on this. The next day rolls around, and within 20 minutes of each other, we bought the same camera within 20 minutes of each other. So, yeah.
Oh man. So if that answers your question, Concepts Creator, back on the 4K bandwagon, man. I just couldn't, ultra high definition, man. The crispy, I just could not give up UHD. I had to be back on it, man. My Panasonic G7 broke, unfortunately. But even before then, it's just I'd been contemplating it, and this is kind of like a prelude to kind of see what's been happening during the week. We're gonna get to the main, tech topics. I've got some stuff to share. Ryan's got some stuff to share. So without a shadow of that, we're gonna get to that. But yeah, man, I'd already been contemplating it because it's just, as much as I love what Panasonic are doing in a hybrid mirrorless compact camera scene, man, I needed more. And it wasn't necessarily because of the sensor size. It was just mainly just down to the fact that the autofocusing system, man, when you're a one-man army, you kind of depend on the autofocus to be the cameraman behind there, the invisible cameraman, as I like to call it. So yeah. And I didn't want to give up the ultra high definition shooting, and I was going back and forth between the Canon 200D/SL2, which Concepts Creator ended up getting because obviously Canon, as people know, the user friendliness, the color science, the dual pixel autofocus, and the great lens selection. But the advanced video features is something that if you want, you kind of have to jump into their Canon cinema range, which, yeah, we ain't got money for that. I'm not gonna sell one of my kids to do that just yet. So, we not necessarily settled for Sony, but I think just for what they're doing in the hybrid compact mirrorless system, they are really doing well. And yeah, so we both ended up pulling the trigger on that, man.
At pretty much exactly the same time as well. Ben got like the better part of the deal, so he got a kit lens with his, and I ordered like a really cheap adapter because I have still got to sell this and the speed booster, which is what I use to convert the lens over, and actually gives me an extra field of view and stuff. I need to have the money to buy one before so it kind of it's kind of in a limbo period. Yeah, it's the intermediate phase. Yeah, whilst that's happening, my cousin lent me her RX100, which is pretty cool. And that's the Mark IV and Mark V. They're absolute beasts. They're the ones that initiate the 4K 1-inch sensor point and shoot. So actually, funny enough, Sony are keeping the point and shoot category alive as well. So credit to them when it comes to pocket
hybrid compact video shooting systems.
I think it's crazy because I've got a video coming soon where I talk about how the point and shoot market has basically dropped off since smartphones got so good. But
oh yeah,
Sony is still crushing it with
yeah. Right, let's check who else. I wanted to say hi to the FailTech, you know, family. Thank you for having me on this live stream collaboration. Thank you to Ryan for having me on this collaboration, and hope we can do more of it. And yeah, man, this is being powered through Restream.io. This is also being streamed on my Twitch channel as well, but I'm not really I don't think I'm really doing Twitch properly, so whatever that means, if you can find my Twitch link, I'll probably put it there somewhere. Whoo, we have a super chat already. We have a super chat already from Concepts Creator himself. Wow, thank you, bro. It says, should have thought about selling my G7 to you. Just thought of now. That was already gone. You can get rid of that G7 so easily, I'm telling you. It is such a good budget entry-level 4K camera. And in fact, it has better noise reduction and low light performance than the GH4, so it's actually a better buy. Bixby says, why not the new NX3000 with integrate? Well, Samsung killed the NX range in Europe. Samsung doesn't have any NX range cameras in Europe. I would have loved to see the replacement to the Samsung NX1, the NX2, but hey, Samsung's mirrorless division in Europe is dead. TechMac, what's up? Where's the Bixby mute button? What's your opinion on the notch? Oh dear, we'll talk about smartphone design in a moment. If you want to know our true discussion of the notch, watch me and Concepts Creators live stream collaboration as well. But me and Ryan will probably touch on that. What's your I'm sure we will. Ryan seems to like Rick and Morty. Yeah, we can see your Rick and Morty fan. What do you call it? Poster in the back as well. Yeah,
I'd like to use that as a little. It's not usually in the same place every single time in the video. It's kind of like an Easter egg in different parts of the video.
I like that. Concepts Creator again with the super chat. Thank you so much. 10 euros for the belated birthday. Thank you so much. It was my birthday on Wednesday the 23rd, so thank you for all that wished a happy birthday. Really appreciate that. What's up? Hey, what's up? Excommunicado. Notch's ugliest best. Mr. Singh, yo, what's up? Thank you for joining. G7 on the GH4. Yeah, 100%. Viper in the house. The man about tech in the house. Thank you for joining. 100%. What'd you call it? Oh, what do we have here? It's a live stream collab, bro. Get to know. Yo, Benjamin, any thoughts on the Z Cam 2? Wow, Ryan, we were talking about the Z Cam or Z Cam E2, right?
We were talking about that, man.
We had for the life of me and Ryan had like a 3-hour talk about progression. And just to let you know, that Z Cam 2, everyone's been talking about that Blackmagic pocket camera cinema, whatever, the BM PCC 4K.
That's it, yeah.
Everyone's making noise about that, but I think people need to pay attention to that Z Camera E2. You know, it's a beast.
What was that? What was that channel you showed me that had the video?
Epos Box, Adam Taylor. Yeah.
He did a really good video on it.
Yeah. So I thought it was going to be coming later, but actually where Blackmagic are looking to release their camera in September. You see, this is why I like the community. The questions that fly in are creating the topics for discussion already. So this is kind of like a nice little intro prelude. So I'm loving this. Blackmagic are actually going to be releasing their pocket camera later on. I'm talking about September if you're lucky. Z Camera, supposedly they're pushing their release of their camera for June, which is next month. Right. Yeah, so it's some, within that time frame. So it shows how aggressive they're being with making sure that they shake it up. And I think that camera out of the box is going to cause a lot of problem for GH5 and GH5S users. It's very interesting. This is what competition does. And I just hope more for companies like Canon, it really makes them wake up in their hybrid, you know, sector. So yeah, if that answers your question, yeah, no, add to that.
I think they haven't. The thing about Canon, they've had, I think ever since, well, the camera that I used to use, the 600D, they've started to be attacked from other companies, kind of like their market share has started to be attacked. But they've had so long, that was like 5 years ago, they've had so long to challenge that. Like, it just seems, I think even if they do, it could be too little too late, because there are so many good offerings from everyone. And it's like it was proven to everyone. I managed to pick up an adapter for the lenses, because obviously Canon has the largest lens.
That's it.
Like £15. So
that's it.
That's all it takes to have your Canon glass collection.
And the thing is, companies like companies like Metabones are really making it easy to not get a compromised experience when you adapt these lenses, right?
Yeah. And
that's not helping Canon. I don't think it's helping Canon. I think they really need to stop this segmentation where I was looking at a comparison of the A6300. This is, mind you, the same APS-C Super 35mm sensor as the FS5, which is their cinema range, their low-end cinema range, right? And the footage of that is sharper, right? So it's almost like, why would Sony do that? But then it just shows like they're not scared, right? Because what it does is it makes people stay loyal to their brand progression in terms of gear purchase, right? You know, what you're seeing with most people now is those that love Canon are switching to Sony because they can't justify that big jump over to their cinema range, right? Because actually their cinema range, in terms of what you want, you're gonna have to actually get a C300 Mark II to get the benefit of that jump, which is a £10,000 camera body. That's without the modularity, you know. So yeah, there's a lot to consider. But yeah, if that answers your question, Singh, Zcam E2.
I have a question from Sam Patterson. I said I promised them I'd answer.
Oh yeah.
He asked our opinions on Chinese phones. I'll start by saying that I've dabbled in a few. Like my friend Harry gets a lot of his phones from China.
Yeah.
Obviously Huawei, Xiaomi, big brands like that. But then you've got the little brands as well. You've got like the Doogee. I'm pretty sure they're Chinese. They're like a subsidiary.
Yeah.
There is
Yumi DG.
Yumi DG. There are all these phones that I'd love to check out, but I haven't really got the money at the moment. But in terms of what I think of the concept of them, is that they're great little phones. A lot of my college lecturers, when I was at college, they had Chinese phones because they were into their tech. I was doing an IT course, but they really prove to you that specifications, to some degree, if you care about them, can be found in such cheap phones, such affordable phones. Like if you don't care about like dynamic range or like an OLED display, if you care about the raw resolution and parts, then I mean you can get phones for like £100 which have crazy specs.
And you know, Alex from Red Skull, he is like the connoisseur. He's the professor. He's the reviewer of Chinese phones. He will take the headache out of what Chinese phones are worth buying, whether it's Alcatel. Go over to Alex from Red Skull. He does great reviews on Chinese phones. So 100%, man. That's I'm indifferent about Chinese manufacturers, because on the top scale, you've got under BBK Electronics, you've got Oppo, you've got Vivo, and you've got OnePlus. And they are at that top scale of the ones that are actually innovating, especially Vivo. Like, that Apex concept phone is no longer a concept phone. Like, I made a joke about it on Twitter that this Vivo Apex phone that is coming out is gonna get released before Apple release their AirPower wireless charging mat. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? That is, Apple announced that AirPower charging mat September. They still haven't released it, right? That Apex Vivo concept phone with the bezel-less display, like that genuine bezel-less display with the pop-out camera, is going to get released before a wireless charging mat. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. So
they've got so much, like they've got so much in the in the headlines, because obviously they were the first to really make headlines with their under screen fingerprint scanner.
Oh yeah.
Now they're going out with the bezel-less displays and their new camera technologies, and how they're kind of, like you said, like the pop-up camera, like how they're doing that. And they're, even if they don't release it, like obviously they are touted to release it sooner rather than later, but even if they didn't, they are the first making those headlines. So when someone thinks of those technologies, they think of Vivo being the pioneers there. So
this is where it's like they've kind of rewritten the mentality of what we see these Chinese manufacturers as copycats, right? They're not really the innovators. They kind of wait for the main dogs to do it, and then they knock it off. But I think the tides are slightly shifting now, right? The tides are almost slightly shifting. It's not that it's not the case. It's still the case in retrospect to how they do that, right? So when you see your S9 clones, your S8 clones, they are like proper clones, but you know, like they're doing that kind of like copyright infringement doesn't translate to Mandarin, right? It doesn't, right? But then at the same time, on the other scale, with what Vivo are doing, I'm excited for what they're doing in terms of like genuine research and development, where they're pouring money in, they're listening to people, they're seeing trends, but then they're showing how to make it futuristic, but bring the future now, right? So that's something that in terms of like the indifference, I'm kind of more excited on the top end scale of that, you know. So if that kind of answers the question about, you know, what we feel about Chinese phones, yeah, man, it's very interesting. And even then, the Doogee Mix 4 prototype that was on Mr. Who's the Boss's channel, you know, that is another perfect example of a big surprise in terms of the all bezel-less screen design with the push-up screen kind of mechanism, you know, very old school, retro, but very futuristic, but very original, but not copycatting, you know, kind of making you think differently in terms of design. So yeah, Chinese manufacturers are in a very interesting transition at the minute. So watch out, more to come.
Isn't it funny how we took those two different angles? You went for the top end stuff, and I started off talking about the cheap budget.
But the thing is, it's good to get kind of like the polar opposite retrospect, right? Because that's kind of like where our natural content and mindsets kind of flow to, you know. So it will be good to kind of get your audience to see that side of things, and then my audience to kind of see your side of things, you know. Because definitely all the links are in the description below. Multi-streaming powered by Restream.io, not sponsored. The link to Ryan's the link to Ryan's channel. Make sure that anyone that's in the live stream from the Tech and Chill family, the Lover of Tech family, the Tech Lover Squad, make sure you go over to Ryan's channel, join the FailTech family as well, subscribe to him, also follow him on his socials and Instagram and also his Twitter, where he's very active. Make sure that you also, you know, just link together, just have a community all together as well. And again, one thing that he does very well is concise but very detailed comparisons of older phones and how they've actually aged and progressed. What are the nuances? What are the great things that have actually happened over the time? Are they receiving software updates? What are the materials that are used? Are those materials, were they good from day one? Have they aged? There's so many things that he would actually bring together, but in a very, very nice, concise package, and he compares them to other phones, you know. So definitely that's one thing that I would, if you guys want to get kind of like a nice, short, in-depth but concise snippet of a good comparison, his channel is the place that you need to be hitting up as well. So definitely, my Ryan from FailTech, we are collaborating tonight on the Tech and Chill Show Unplugged, and it's going so well. Let's look through some of the comments as well. Shout out to Fabrizio in the house. Come stai? Bixby, why not Bixby over Thank You? How does Bixby end up in the chat? I just don't get it. I still haven't gotten used to this. It's just such a weird experience. Such a weird experience. Who else is here? Tech enthusiast in the house. What's good? Do you just unnotch your thumbnails? You guys are, look, stop trolling us tonight. Stop trolling me. Stop trolling me. Concepts Creator started this. Tech, oh yeah. Would you have either seen OnePlus 6 with or without no notch? Like no. Sorry.
The notch is like, it's currently like the fashion, right? But as we've spoken about before, it's just the in between whilst we figure out how to do under screen stuff. So
yeah.
That's all it is. It's just an in between. It's not like everyone thinks this is the most beautiful thing on earth, because most people don't, and even the companies know that. So
you see, the thing is, right? Your company's like Essential, and especially Apple, because obviously they're the most polarizing company when it comes to these things, right? And they're the ones that kind of really triggered this whole thing. I don't like it, but I understand the intermediacy. What I don't like is the copycatting without the attention to detail of how to actually have a proper workaround to it in terms of app development, in terms of like the foundational. And I know what Google are doing in terms of Project Treble and fixing it with Android P with faster updates, right? But initially it just felt like a knee-jerk reaction of, oh, let's just copy it because it seems like this is what people want. Or if it's what people want, or if we don't know what people want, all the bigger influencers or the bigger reviewers or people that are reviewing these stuff, the more they keep repeating that we don't mind the notch, it's like, oh, actually they don't mind it that much, so why not? You know, so that kind of like
complacent.
Yeah. So that's my standing on it. But in a perfect ideal world, what Samsung are doing with the Infinity display, no notch, 100%.
They do it the best, in my opinion. If they just got rid of that bottom bit, like the bottom chin, then it'd be absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
I think it's better to have that bar across the top than to have a notch. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think if they're going for rather than a symmetrical design like what they were going for, if you're going for an asymmetrical design, and again, this brings it back to Xiaomi, because Xiaomi were also one of the biggest pioneers in that all-screen display with the original Mix, right? I actually think that their form of the asymmetrical design I don't like, because it confuses the orientation of the front-facing camera, which is just a bit weird in my opinion, right? So I actually think what you're saying is right, where if you're going for an asymmetrical design, they should do what Apple did by bending the OLED panel underneath to get rid of the bottom chin. You know, and then, you know, just leave the top bar up there, trim it down as much as possible, and just have kind of like an asymmetrical design that way. So I could rock with that.
Yeah. No, I think that a lot of people find that the top, like originally when the bezel-less phones were a thing, the top bezel was the one to get rid of. But I think in retrospect, the bottom bezel should be the one to get rid of. And the top one, even if it's like Samsung's little thin slice at the top, I think it just works better. I 100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. So if that answers your question, no notch. No notch. Okay, so it says totally hyped. I prefer this channel. Hey, thank you so much. Make sure you also go over to FailTech as well. Did you just unnotch? Oh yeah. Would you have reversing notch now on it? He's removed it from the fin around the display. See it exposed again. No, leave me alone, Concepts. Leave me alone. Ambience Lens Photography says, buy the red 8K hydrogen. I mean, it's a damn... Yes. The red hydrogen one. What's your thoughts on it? So... when it's a thing that I get a lot from my audience who don't necessarily know a lot about the camera, like they care more about the experience than what goes into it, like we talked about the other day with phones and all this stuff. But there is like scientifically not a lot you can do when you have a form factor so small in terms of your sensor, and that's why a lot of phones have over sharpening. Now, even though your Samsung or your iPhone, whatever, might have the same resolution in terms of video as something like a GH4, or even going up to a Red camera, you're going to see completely different looking images, not necessarily because of color or whatever, but because where it's soft on the smartphone, they have to over sharpen. There's a lot of processing that goes on. I think Red, without their software is routinely been terrible up until like the latest Monstro 8K sensor.
The full frame.
The full frame one. So I think that a lot of people are seeing this as being like the baby Red camera in a phone. I don't think it's going to be that. In fact, I don't think it's even going to be able to compete with something like the RX100. just due to the fact that the sensor's so small. But they were talking about an add-on, weren't they? Like a modular add-on that allows you to attach lenses and sensors and stuff. I think if they manage to do that with like a sensible degree of like consistency in release of the add-on, so they don't just stop after the first month. I think that is where they have their big kind of thing, because they have that crazy display thing that I think is going to be a gimmick. I think their like 3D displays is I don't necessarily think that's going to be great, but if they can do what Hasselblad and Motorola couldn't with their expansion, I think that's where they're going to make their money.
You see, where my thing is right now, I'm at a stage where I've seen a couple of people, I'm very active on Twitter to see what's going on. There's a lot of people that are saying that, oh, because of the price, it's going to be a flop. Because of this, it's going to be a flop. My angle that I'm coming from with that phone is, can we just not embrace the fact that the company are trying something different? Can we just not appreciate that for a moment? Because with this plateauing and stagnation in the smartphone industry right now, I just appreciate someone trying to do something different and being brave enough to want to do it. Do you get it? Like I'm more appreciative of that than immediately saying that, oh, because I don't necessarily understand the reasoning behind it, whether it's the 4D holographic display, whether it's the modularity, whether it's what they're trying to do. Like all these things, we can have a backlash against it because we just are not understanding where their ethos, where their philosophy is coming, where their projection is going, what the company vision is about. You know, although we don't understand it, can we just not embrace the surprise of it for once? Because with all leaks that happens, with copycatting that's happened, with all these great phones that come out that we're becoming so numb to, right? I'm more excited for phones like that are literally like, we just want to do something different based on what we know principally we can do well, which is great image quality, right? Great modularity based on what we built with our red cameras, right? Like, I'm more excited for that. Is it gonna flop? Yeah, it could. Of course it could flop. Look at Essential, unfortunately, right? And that's another discussion that we're gonna get into. Look at what just happened to Essential. But yet the same way that OnePlus, when they first brought out their phone, Nextbit, when they first brought out their phone, right? You can flop, but you can easily succeed, right? You just don't know how it's going to play based on if you focus and you execute and you market properly, right? That's where my angle is. So whatever that 8K Hydrogen 1 is going to represent, I don't know. For a starting price of $1,200, boy, I don't know, but
have to be a crazy.
Yeah. And if it can kind of like hurt what the RX 100 Mark V and beyond is gonna do, but encompass it with the convenience of having the connectivity of a smartphone and having that kind of access, right? I'm more excited for that. I'm more excited for that. Then it kind of encompasses what you were talking about with your recent video. If you guys haven't checked it, check it out, where a $1,000 phone or a £1,000 phone can be a bargain. I think it can make that argument even stronger. I'm looking at it from more that retrospect and that angle and that perspective, you know. So I'm challenging more people to kind of be a bit more open-minded to companies like your Fuji doing the Mix 4, your Apex Vivo phones. In this situation where it's very hard to see how smartphones are getting better, these are the companies that are trying to actually make you see that smartphones can get better, you see. So if that answers your question, ambience lens photography, that is my thoughts, and that's our thoughts on the Red Hydrogen 1. Phones this year are so underwhelming. I don't know if I want to upgrade from my LG G5. I'm sick of the G5. Yeah, I mean, this is evolution. It's just plateauing, you know. So still again, if you haven't checked Ryan's latest video, go check it. I think because of the rate that these phones, what do you think? Me and Concept Creator talked about this before, that the rate, and especially how Android phones come out, it can make you feel very numb, right? It can make you very numb to making you feel like these phones that are coming out are underwhelming enough where it's not worth upgrading.
I have one thing to interject, 1 second, because I've just spotted it. I've just gone over to your channel, and looked at your live stream, and concept creator put just a tip. I think he's trolling me here, but just a tip: have a link to your YouTube channel on your Twitter. But I put FailTech.co.uk is a direct pass-through link to my YouTube. So.
Oh, okay, that's good. Okay. That's good.
Sorry, just wanted to get in there because I was like,
Concepts is like the channel troll. He is our channel troll, legitly. So I think it's very easy to see phones as underwhelming, but then at the same time, it's a gratitude thing where if you're LG G5, you're sick of it just out of boredom, but yet it's actually going really well and it's working really well. It kind of shows testament to how possibly well built that phone is, to the point where it's lasting you longer than the 2 years, right, that you should naturally have it for based on your contract agreement. You see, so then actually what you end up doing is saving more money because you're getting more longevity out of your product. So in terms of return on investment, it's actually working out better. It's working out better for you. You see, but you know, I think if you look at products with a focus, I generally don't feel that smartphones are all that underwhelming. It feels that way. It feels that way because of just the aggressive release from every single OEM back to back to back to back to back to back to back. But I think if you just isolate each product, you can see a focus in there where there is some form of evolution / innovation in there somewhere that you can appreciate enough that if it meets your unique, like, you know, what your USP that you want out of your phone, I think it's worth an upgrade. So maybe that's a different perspective.
My friend Ewan, who I don't know if he's watching right now, but has had a few problems. Well, a few maybe is an understatement. Problems with his G5.
Yeah.
And it was, even though it's an IPS display, there's a lot of image retention problems there.
Okay.
And I put up a video a couple of years ago about boot looping. And the thing with LGs is, I think, well, we touched on this before with their terrible, well, terrible is probably an understatement as well, the release of their phones. They're really bad at marketing them, right? But I think an even bigger problem is they have so many quality control issues in their phone department. Their
QC issues. Yeah, I have to agree. I experienced that with my G4 from back in the day. The boot looping on there was it was a proper night. I think it wasn't even just, it was the warranty process. It was the warranty process to get that sorted. That to me, it was just painful because, again, an OEM or company that doesn't have a physical retail store presence, you know, the time period that it takes from getting a courier to send out posts, it's long. It really kind of just hinders your experience and your confidence in the brand, right? The turnover time. So that is another thing that kind of like hinders people from giving, you know, alternate OEMs a chance, because subconsciously, you know, the turnaround time for when something goes wrong can be a very painful thing because your phone is a necessity, right? So yeah, that's another thing to definitely consider. I want the red. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions here.
Fire away.
Shimmer, what smartphone trends do you think there will be in the next 2 years? I think we'll probably try. I think a trend will be without a notch. Technically, I think the notch will go away, and that will become a trend. I think we will probably go back to single cameras. Sounds weird, but the way that software is going, and the fact that loads of people want to lower the cost of their phone. Again, having another sensor in there is just additional cost, and I think it's like, you know, Google's proven that their software can make up for another lens. There are a lot of phones on the market, a lot of cheap Chinese phones, unfortunately, that have a second camera that they literally scientifically don't do anything.
Don't do nothing. Fake AF. Fake AF, and I don't mean autofocus. It's just fake. It's just legit fake.
Yeah, what do you think trends will be in the next 2 years?
So trends definitely will be the bezel-less display. The next major trend that needs to get figured out is battery. Genuine battery. And then we know that there's been discussions from Samson with the patents that they've filed in terms of their graphene battery technology and stuff. There needs to be that genuine shift of what replacement batteries could do in terms of quick recharge time, right? I said it before, there's nothing beats having a spare battery that you take out and you put in. That's quick charge. That nothing beats that.
Quickest form.
That is the quickest form. We need to get recharging of batteries down to that negative 15-20 minutes, where you genuinely feel like, if I can recharge my whole battery, whole, not part, to 100 in 20 minutes to 10 minutes between that gap, then generally speaking, you should not ever miss the rechargeable battery again. Like, you shouldn't miss it. You shouldn't miss it, you see. So that's the next trend that I need to really be seeing happening. And then one trend that I really, for myself, and I'm really surprised more companies haven't really caught onto it this year, right, is high refresh rate panels. 120 hertz, 90 hertz, 144 hertz. And I keep saying this, like, that is one phone that has really left an impression on me. Two devices, the iPad Pro 10.5 with the ProMotion 120 hertz display, and also the Razer phone. Like, in terms of just, and I think it was Linus Tech Tips when he did his review on the iPad Pro 10.5, he said this, like, you just don't know how much of a game changer it is to your response, just like how your eye behaves. Like, having a high refresh rate panel, to me, it feels like an immediate difference to your usability compared to having an OLED panel, in my opinion, right? That's me. And actually, one of my wish lists is to see the progression of OLED panels having high refresh rates.
Yeah, I think that's the next step in research. I think needs to go into that.
Yeah, and this is part of the discussion that I've genuinely, nothing against anyone, I've genuinely not seen anyone touch on that topic in terms of what we want to be seeing more in the future, right? Yes, we're hunting for bezel-less displays and everything, but in terms of display quality response, that's a trend that I definitely want to see as a standing, especially in OLED, you know. And I actually want it to be a point where, while OLED is getting that, I want more IPS panels, more IPS LCD panels to have that. As much as you guys scream about OLED, this is what we can still do as an LCD IPS panel, right? Yeah. This is the benefit.
IPS panels they're not bad.
They're not. If
you look at Motorola, another video that's being teased, I've got to do an X. Do you remember the original Moto X? It was like not necessarily spec wise, but it was really good in software.
Yeah. It was the one with the, I think it was like the Snapdragon S4 Pro dual core, and it had the contextual chip on there, and it went through like the whole motor maker design, and that's when it really had the always on listening kind of technology happening with the contextual voice recognition. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So I had the X2 versus the X4, and they've switched to from OLED to IPS, weirdly enough, which is usually the other way around for a lot of companies. But the IPS display looks as punchy, if not punchier, than the OLED. So it's proof that it doesn't, you know, the only drawback, in my opinion, is the black level. But even then, there are a lot of IPS panels that do. So, obviously, they're never going to get to the level of OLED, but very, very close, to the point where you have to be in pitch black conditions to notice the difference. Yeah,
and the thing is, one thing that you have to, if we're going to defend IPS panels a lot more, right? Yes, they don't have the they don't have kind of like the flexibility. They're not as malleable, in terms of like bending, molding. They still require like a whole backlight, because the pixels themselves don't illuminate and have the luminance to be able to turn on and off, right? And that also depends on what their response rate in terms of being on and off, right? So yes, you don't get the genuine black levels, but what you're getting is more consistent and accurate colors. You're getting you're less susceptible to screen burn. It's not that you can't get screen burn, but you're less susceptible to it, right? Genuine brightness as well. Genuine brightness in nits. You'll be more likely to get more consistent genuine brightness in nits on an LCD panel, and also the ability to be able to have genuine high refresh rates as well. That's what you get on IPS panels. And this is where, for me, companies that depend on IPS panels, I think they need to be using that to be able to kind of trump people into actually making them feel like, look, hey, OLED is great in terms of the infinite contrast ratio, the efficient battery life, the amazing viewing angles, right? because of the contrast ratio where it's able to differentiate the darks to the blacks, you're getting much more vibrant and punchy colors. Great. And yes, they've negated the issue of brightness not being a good thing. Yes, you get genuine brightness on OLED panels, right? But OLED panels are expensive to manufacture. You're not really going to get access to a good one unless you're Samsung or Apple, right? So that means you're going to be left with a lackluster one that really doesn't look good, and it color shifts, and it doesn't have the pixel density, because how the pixels are arranged are different, right? It's based on either a pentile or diamond matrix. Oh, am I gone? Oh, I'm back. Sorry. It's based on that kind of arrangement where really it isn't as pixel dense as your normal sRGB, RGB pixel arrangement for an LCD panel, right? This is where I still think LCD panels have the relevance in the scene, right? And I think it's not being utilized enough, because majority carrying the vote have literally just put pressure on the fact that if you don't get OLED, right, your screen is rubbish. 100% disagree with that. So that's kind of my passionate rant about it.
I agree with they have to use the high refresh rate to their advantage to.
Yeah.
Like 1080p IPS versus 1080p OLED. And a lot of people I know will go OLED every day of the week, but you cannot go high refresh. Well, at least at the moment, you cannot go high refresh rate OLED.
You can't.
So like that's the one thing you need to push to kind of make that statement that yeah, we can do things that you can. Yes.
Because when you do that, it makes the research and the development that goes into OLED increase. It will increase. If let's just say you have a budget smartphone, like let's just say if OnePlus went the route of maybe not doing a notch and says, look, we've got a quality 1080p panel, but this is what's special about us. It's 1080p, but you're getting a high refresh rate, 120 hertz, 144 hertz. When we talk about the speed that you need, right, we're also talking about the fastest display response on the market. Can you imagine that? If they marketed their product that way, that to me would have been like, wow. Not that I'm not sold on the OnePlus 6, but I'll be like, wow, this is sick.
Yeah,
this is sick.
You know how they're like the cult company? It would make
yes
more like you know, just standing out as being right. Well, whilst you guys go and trend this way, we are gonna go this way.
Yeah, 100%. That's my prerogative on it. That's my prerogative on it. And then if that answers the question from, you know, the FailTech family side, this is what we kind of feel like what trends should be currently, and what we want to be seeing into this, you know, what is effectively going to be the third decade of the new millennium, right? 2020 is the third decade of the new millennium. So
yeah,
this is what we want to be seeing in the mobile industry when it comes to smartphone trends. Let's go through some of the questions on my side as well as yours. So what's your budget? I want to buy the red smartphone, but I'll buy it if it's actually a good phone. Whoa, you're gonna have to import that from America. Yeah, but with Sony, you have one big issue: no articulating display. Yeah. So with me, if we're back to that, I was kind of advising Ryan as well when we were discussing this. All the usability problems on the A6200 specifically, and sorry again, we're digressing back to camera gear, can be fixed minus the rolling shutter, right? If you use a field monitor, you get a headphone jack, you get an articulating display. If you're going to have overheating and battery life problems, getting an external battery, dummy battery coupler system, you can externally power it and you can get up to like 5 hours of continuous recording with no overheating. Even if you don't do that, you can charge and power it over USB as well, which most cameras, even mirrorless, can't do, but Sony does, right? Those two things can be negated and fixed, you know. So yes, ergonomically, it doesn't make it a very nice all-encompassing package, but you can fix it, you know. What you can't fix is things like rolling shutter or bad autofocus. There's no fixing those two.
Or tiny sensor, or bad slow motion, or terrible compression ratio.
Yeah, you if there's something you can fix to negate what the problem is, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's the things you can't fix that you're stuck with, right? That it's you know, it's a pain in the butt. Like 1080p, only having 1080p.
Yep, that's a big limitation of cameras.
Yep. You know, I'm looking at it from a videography perspective in terms of upgrading progression. I'm stuck. You know, yeah. So it's not too bad not having an articulating screen. I wish it had it, but it's cool.
I think, I don't know, because the thing I love about these cameras, right, is they're so small that you can build them out like you were mentioning, I think, before the stream with the small rig cages and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm personally I planned that way before I even thought about it, because I was thinking about getting one from my GH4, right?
Yes.
So you can, a lot of the stuff that you might fit, like for example the GH4, funnily enough, it's a small camera, right? When I went from my 600D to my GH4, I was like, wow, this is tiny. But when you compare the GH4 to the A6300, the A6300 is even smaller. So you can build up a cage and like an external monitor and all this stuff to the size of like a large DSLR. But you have all that modularity there already. You don't have to, you know, if you were to start with something that's already larger, then it's going to be a lot more of a pain to.
Exactly. So, you know, I'm looking at it more from the videographer's progressive mind, you know, and not necessarily having that absolute ease of use, but you're having the usability of elasticity. Like, the more you want to push your footage, the more you're going to be able to get out of the A6300 compared to like a ready-made mill that is a very nice consistency with the Canon range and their hybrid shooting, right? Yeah. You know, that's kind of like, I always look at it more from, as a videographer, when you want to progress, what are you getting out of your gear? And you know what, to me personally, Sony are doing in a hybrid, it doesn't take away what Canon are doing with the Canon 200D, because I still think as a content creator, if that's going to be your first camera, that should be your first camera. 100% recommend it. Like, get that. It's going to make you feel so confident to be able to just create your content and not worry about your gear so much. That's what you need when you're starting out. But I think for guys like us, where we're not pros, but we feel like we've progressed enough to want to be able to push ourselves to get more out of our footage and the creativity that we want. Yeah, you know, the A63, A65, the A7 III definitely are great progressions. So hopefully that answers your questions.
I have a couple of things here. Ross, my buddy from school, just super chatted. I think that's what that is.
Nice.
Like a chat thing. So
yeah.
Love you, Ross.
Thank you, Ross.
We also have a question from Daniel Armstrong asking about the G6, like the LG G6 versus the Galaxy S7 Edge, which I think is, even though it sounds to a lot of people like it's a weird question, I think that's definitely
it's legit. It came out at the same time. Well, actually, sorry, the G6 was a year after, S7 Edge was the year before. Full vision display, 18:9. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, but that's still valid.
They're very similar chipsets, because the 821 in the G6 is very comparable to the 820, or in the UK an 8890 Exynos chip in the S7 Edge. Yeah. If it was me, I would personally go S7 Edge. I have a very controversial opinion that I've expressed millions of times, and people hate me for it. I prefer 16:9 displays. It's OLED, this one in particular. The build quality is great on the G6, and it has that mil-spec rating as well. But the S7 Edge, even though it's got kind of its, you know, IP water industrial resistance and all this stuff, it's just so like, it's so sleek and elegant. It's got the elegance to it. Yeah, of course. The camera experience for me was leaps and bounds better on the S7 Edge. The software was better, and obviously on both of these you can port the Pixel camera app if you use Magisk and install some add-ons. But yeah, if it was me, S7 Edge. But maybe for longevity, I would still pick the S7 Edge, because the LG, they're just so bad with their software release, even compared to Samsung. I you know, without being a bias onto it as well, man, the battery capacity as well was just, you know, fat, like thick, you know, 3600 milliamp hours as well. I would, you know, LG definitely went for a unique route, as you know, depending on where you are. Their camera versatility is very, very much still a very unique selling point to them. I'm on the other side. I love screens. I love as much screen as I can get, you know. So yes, I like the
the standardization, if I can call it that way, of 16:9 in terms of how we consume our content, how we browse, how we use it. But I just love screen. When I see lots of screen and more screen, I'm like, I feel like I fly to a big light. I just draw to it because I just consume so much media. So the more screeners I can get, because I'm weird in how I handle my phone ergonomics, and I talked to this, me and Concept Creator had this discussion where we're on polar opposites. He doesn't like all screen designs, you know, but I do, you know. Yeah. But even with that, just because of just how I remember that S7 Edge being such a tank, right? Even in its elegance, it was just such a solid piece of kit. And yeah, that IMX, that Sony IMX sensor that they actually put in, right, was so fast. It was just ridiculously fast. Like, it was just fast. That's my biggest memory of that phone, where the camera experience on that 12 megapixel sensor with dual pixel autofocus was just fast. It was just fast to do everything, you see. So yeah, S7 Edge, man. S7 Edge, 100% S7 Edge. Cool. Yeah, Doogie. Okay, I'm gonna go back into my comments. 10K. So this is going through live chat. Chinese phones are great. I just got the E4 Plus 5000 milliamp hour battery, Snapdragon 8, so it's fast charging. Love Chinese phones. Yep. Well, kinda, I owned a FS2 Chinese made with 4K 60 frames a second. Interesting. Ambience lens photography. Okay. Red Skull is a pretty nice channel. I'm more for the action camera reviews though. CJ abroad with that. Yep. Even Samsung is assembled and produced sometimes in Samsung. Yeah, in China. Yeah, of course. China's like, you know, just assembly heaven for a lot of OEMs. What headphones are you wearing? These are from Grain Audio. Yeah, so I won these on a giveaway from someone else's live stream. So these are from Grain Audio. So I don't know what the model is or full specifications, but they're from a company called Grain Audio. It's got like genuine wood design built in there. Very comfortable. So it just came in time for the live stream. I didn't know the J series Samsung was from China. Those phones are amazing. I mean, all the chipsets and internal board and display is all manufactured and assembled in China and Taiwan. Yeah, you know, you've got Taiwanese semiconductor manufacturing company TSMC. You've got Global Foundries. You know, Samsung are, you know, officially the biggest chip maker in the world, and they are making great progressions onto 10 nanometer and 7 nanometers, as well as, you know, high bandwidth memory 2, as well as GDDR6 memory as well, which should be in the next NVIDIA chips as well. Yeah, definitely, man. In terms of factories and, you know, places like Foxconn, Asus or Asus, yeah, China is definitely where it's at. My Project 13 in the house. What did I miss? You didn't miss too much, bro. You didn't miss too much. Welcome for joining the live stream, My Project 13. We should also definitely work on something for live stream collaboration as well. My Project 13. Chipsets like the Exynos series, quad cores and octa cores. Yep. To FailTech. Just a tip on your Twitter. Oh yeah, we went past that. Wow. I'm here for you, bro. I'm not subbing to his channel, joke. Oh, you guys are crazy. Concept creator, don't be lazy. Search FailTech's channel on YouTube. I'm in between or not. Doesn't mean he should do it. Is that a notch? Leave me with the notch. Oh man, the notch would just be the death of me at the moment. And I'm anti-notch myself, so it's like, what can I do, Ryan? What can I do? I wouldn't put it past Samsung to actually put a notch on the device down the road. I don't think they will. Samsung are just in their own right. If you look at it, specifically Samsung Samsung USA's marketing, Samsung are just big trolls. Samsung have no reason to put a notch in their phone. I just don't think they'll do it personally. What do you think, Ryan? Do you think Samsung will go to the extent of having to put a notch in their phone?
I think Samsung have got the technology that they are so confident that they have already got a notchless phone in-house. Yeah. That they will just not bother, because then they can look back in 5 years, they can look back and go, all right, these companies had to, what's the word? They had to compensate. Yeah. Whereas we didn't have to, you know, we have a notch.
100% agree. 100% agree.
I think they've already got a working prototype. Just,
yeah. Samsung, to me, in terms of pure hardware manufacturing, I know they get a lot of slate when it comes to software, performance over time, cohesiveness, maybe not necessarily speed, because I think speed isn't a problem. Maybe fluidity, cohesiveness is something where they maybe get a lot of stick for, and I get it. There's a lot of redundancy in their apps. People like to call it bloatware. I call it redundancy. There's a lot they get for that, but let's not take away from the fact that their superiority in terms of physical hardware manufacturing, right? They almost can't be touched. So I'm in agreement with you. I just don't think they will. They're facing a limitation of not being able to work around having a notchless design, you know, and they already don't have a notchless design. They basically killed the side bezels. They don't have side bezels, so you know, I don't think Samsung will go that route personally.
You have a question on your channel, on your stream end of things, saying, do you think Fortnite will come to the Nintendo Switch? Such an out there question. Like, I wasn't expecting that.
I think Fortnite could, because of the nature of the graphics can actually allow it to be. The Nintendo Switch is a bit of a weird place right now, because it can be a hit and miss. So, for example, the latest Resident Evil game at the moment is going to be in Japan only, but it's going to be a streamable game.
Right.
So it's not going to be a game that you can download and actually play locally. You have to stream it via a 6-month service. You see, so this is where it could do, because obviously the nature of Fortnite compared to PUBG, how the graphics are much more animated and cartoony, could be less graphically intensive, and it could be something very similar to how it looks like on Zelda Breath of the Wild. So that potentially could come. It could come, you know. But I
mean, we've got it. We're getting it on phones, aren't we? Or is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think there's definitely the possibility. And remember, it's 720p on the screen of the actual Switch. So
yeah,
I think there's a possibility there.
Yeah.
With the amount that there is, like, I think that it would be in a respect that the phone is a good way to run Fortnite, because of course it's more portable.
Yeah.
I think that the limitation, the only limitation that the phone has, is the control system, which is pretty much sorted with the Switch. So
yeah, because you're getting, there's nothing that's better in terms of getting a genuine tactile feedback, because it stops you from having to look down a controller. You can actually just map it based on muscle memory, you know, which is how you should game. Yeah, you should you should game. So yeah, if that answers your question in that retrospect, yeah, it can. Nintendo have done a much better job having to actually learn how to product execute properly compared to the Wii U. Enough where the Switch is just killing it. The Switch is just killing it, you know. The Switch is just killing it. And I had doubts about the Switch, but one thing I said about me having doubts against that product is I want to be wrong. I have to be wrong, right? I need to be proven wrong about Nintendo doing well with this product, and they have. A year on over, you know, the Switch is doing very well, you know, and we're still waiting for games like Smash Bros to come out, you know. So, you know, I'm still a big Smash Bros Melee fan, Melee specifically on the GameCube. Mario is my favorite character, actually, next to Link.
I agree. Like, yeah, I think. Yeah, it was yesterday. I think it was yesterday. The missus bought me FIFA for the Switch, because it's been ages since I've had a console, right? And I always used to play FIFA when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I always thought that FIFA was going to be cut down on the Switch, but playing it is exactly the same as on console. Yeah. And I tell you what, it's so weird, but also incredibly satisfying.
Yep.
Playing FIFA on the Switch, it's like it's such a small screen, you know. FIFA is one of those games you usually play on like projectors and massive screens. It's just weird, but no, I think the Switch has so much potential. It's signed up with EA obviously to get future releases, and I think the first party releases are already amazing. Katie loves playing Mario Odyssey. Is it Super Mario Odyssey?
Odyssey's on point. Odyssey's on point. So yeah, no, we on the Switch's side to make sure that they can make these games as accessible as possible, and it just makes them solidify a very unique selling point for their platform, where the next release, as system on a chips are getting more efficient in terms of their fabrication process, and you know that is something that's progressing. They're only gonna get better and more efficient. So yeah, 100%. We hope to see that happen. my new 3ds XL 3D is amazing. Can't wait to see how Red can make that better. Yeah, I'm eager to see what this holographic 4D display on. I'm just eager to see what difference that they're bringing, right? So again, remember when the phablet first came out of the Note 1, it was a gimmick. Now it's not a gimmick anymore. Do you get it? So our knowledge on it being minimal shouldn't take away our open-mindedness to what it could probably bring in terms of difference and focus to a product, right? So yeah, I'm eager to see what Red are going to do with their holographic display as well. Concept creator, I can appreciate something different without a doubt, but it has to be something proper, not something like a notch. I mean, 960 frames from Sony's cool, dual aperture's cool, dual pixels cool, USB type C 2, yeah, cool, definitely 100%. The notches absolutely didn't flop. I was hoping it did flop. It's just Apple are polarizing, man. That's it. They're just a polarizing company. Let me say it like this: a few years ago, I was like hyped about phones. Now, meh. About the Twitter, sorry, I missed that then. Okay, I saw it. What'd you call it? Jason was here. In terms of the S7 Edge, it's the best from the glass designs. Yeah, definitely, 100%. That progression and change, yeah, like we said before, the S7 Edge is just an absolute tank. Elegance, but it's a tank of a phone. What's the best wireless earphones which are under £50? Oh, I'm not really a wireless earbud connoisseur, if I'm gonna say. I don't know if you can shed some light on that, Ryan.
Earphones or headphones? What was the... Sorry,
yeah, see, I'm like that. I like to differentiate the two. You're either an earphone person or you're a headphone person.
If I had the money, because I used to, and I'm happy showing this with everyone, with my anxiety, I used to always wear those. What are they? They're not earpods, aren't they? The ones with the wire.
Yeah.
I used to wear those like when I used to go out, and obviously those are nice because they're earphones. Those are the only earphones that actually fit in my ear. I can't use in-ears, right?
Oh, okay.
So, but I keep breaking them, right? I'm just terrible. So to stop me breaking earphones, I bought some wireless headphones. But the problem with that is they're so bulky, and I still wear them out and about. But you know, when you're crossing roads and stuff, and it's just a little bit dangerous.
Yeah.
So if I could have earphones, like the only earphones I could really consider wearing myself that are wireless have to be AirPods, but AirPods are triple the price. So
yeah.
I don't know. In-ears, if you're happy with in-ears, there are loads of budget.
Loads. Yeah,
like
yeah.
eBay and Amazon, and they all pretty much do the same thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Those Samsung ones.
Yeah, the Gear Icon X 2018.
That's it.
I'm an in-ear person. I'm the other way around. I bought a pair of AirPods for myself, hoping I could use them with the iPhone 10. They didn't fit me. They hurt my ears. They kept falling out. They made me look silly. I gave them to my wife. She loves them. I got the Icon X's. The Icon X's are absolutely phenomenal. And I think it's just the untethered experience of being able to conveniently use one at a time and having the convenience and the surroundings and the discreetness for me with the Samsung personally. You know, so those things are just a lot of tick boxes, and I'm always on public transport, so I can't have something that is not portable as earphones. So naturally, I fall to be more of an earphone person rather than a headphone person. You know, so that's kind of the camp that I go through. But yeah, I think Anker do good wireless earbuds.
I didn't even know Anker made earphones. That's
yeah. So I think Anker do good ones if I know right. I'm subbing. Thank you, Daniel, for subscribing. I appreciate it. You did ask about the Fortnite question that Ryan caught early, so thank you. Ross Darwin, super chat, £2. Thank you so much. We appreciate the love, man. Anyone that super chats, thank you so much. Thank you for supporting the cause. Thank you for supporting both our channels. Thank you for supporting the Tech and Chill Show Unplugged. We really appreciate it. And even with all the things that me and Ryan wanted to talk about, we haven't even scratched the surface, because more of the engagement is coming from the audience, which is absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much for that. It is much appreciated. Thanks. I got FIFA, just finished my first 20-minute game. Yep. Or the hype of removing the headphone jack. Oh, it's such a glaring omission. Honestly, it's the removal of the headphone jack is a genuine.
Did you see the OnePlus 6 stream where they were trolling about the wireless earphones?
Yeah.
Icon. Oh no, not Icon. What's it?
The Bullets wireless, yeah. Which are very, very good. Recommend as well. 100% recommend those. They look phenomenal.
We were trolling with that, and then of course later they released that there was a headphone jack.
There was a.
Yeah, everyone was like, "Oh, what's gonna happen?"
Oh man. So again, all the questions so far on my live chat have all been answered. I don't know if all the questions on your live chat with your audience have been answered, and
let's have a look.
Because we don't want to let the audience feel left out once we go in on our topics and stuff. So
I think the last one. Okay, hang on. That's something that I think he answered himself there. Chinese phone, Xiaomi. What do we think of Xiaomi? And also PUBG on mobile. So Xiaomi, I've tried like 2 of their phones, and they were like the really budget stuff. So
yeah.
The Mi Note, or the Red Mi Note, I think that's what they're called. And those are good phones. They're not. I think that being in my camp, I prefer using higher end but older flagships. But for people who want to buy brand new, they are great.
Yeah.
And then the PUBG on mobile, my friend Morgan, Fail in the chat, who's actually, funnily enough, the originator of the name FailTech, because we were working on that together.
All right, nice.
He's played PUBG on. He used to play PUBG a lot. Got it on his OnePlus 5T. Kind of was bored one day and just thought, "Oh, I'll give this a go," and like found it really easy, like for some reason. Yeah. I think that the problem with PUBG is that it's free to play nature. It doesn't have a free to play nature on PC, and on phone I think it's again too little too late. I think Fortnite's just stolen that and run away with it. Yeah,
and I think the fun factor as well, the fun factor to Fortnite, from what I've been seeing, kind of emulates that, because it seems more accessible to a lot more people, you know. So that's kind of, I've not played Fortnite. I'm still kind of like a stubborn old school gamer that likes to play through games that have an intimate storytelling. So this is why I've really enjoyed playing God of War. But in terms of multiplayer, the 2 multiplayer games that I've really, you know, had time with me, because I used to play a lot of CS tournaments, and it wasn't even Global Offensive, it was actually Counter-Strike Source. So I'm from the Counter-Strike Source era, and then also Gears of War for me. You know, I spent a lot of time on Gears, because Gears was just a brutal game. It was just such a technical masterpiece when Unreal Engine 3 was released with the Xbox 360. So yeah, those are kind of the 2 multiplayer games that kind of stick with me. I wasn't really a COD fan. I didn't really get into Battlefield, and Fortnite really seems to have caught that kind of glimpse. So yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, man. Cool. So that's answered those questions. Now, as you are the special guest, what was the first topic on your mind that you really wanted to talk about, that you wanted us to kind of like share and, you know, digest?
This is a topic that is like, I had a couple of ideas, but the one that I just want to address a couple of videos. There are 2 videos. One was the 2K video is the one that kind of you noticed from me, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And next to that, I released a video talking about charging and how fast charging is like kind of messing up your phone.
Yeah, the efficiency. Yeah.
And I got a lot of people telling me that I got so much hate on that video, saying, "Well, you know, I've been using my phone for years, and I don't have time to do this messing around." And I think the overarching theme from the comments from the community was that I was giving false, not information, but like terrible advice. But as I stated in the video, it's completely what's the word? It's not I can't remember the word now, but it's not possible for a lot of people to use their phone like that, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. That wasn't the theme of the video. That wasn't kind of what I was trying to get across. I was trying to give scientific information, not necessarily advice that you should you know, charge your phone like 3 or 4 times a day, very little amounts.
Yeah.
And that's just something I wanted to get off my chest. And secondly, with the £1,000 phone one that I released recently.
Yeah.
I still feel like a lot of the people who commented on that video only watched or only read the title or only watched the first few maybe.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it was saying that like you can get phones for like $200-300 that do a similar thing, but that, as I said, with the law of diminishing returns, and we've talked about this before. Yeah. Obviously, you could get a 1080p OLED display in like a $200 phone, but that might not cover a huge color gamut. And to some degree, who needs that wide color gamut in phones? But I'm just saying that those higher end phones have it. Small things, and yes. Again, the law of diminishing returns. Do you really care about that? Probably not. Those are the two things I wanted to get off my chest. Sorry.
And no, they're absolutely fair. Like the one I'm going to touch on first is battery, because I did a OnePlus dash charging versus the S7 Edge and the S8 when it first came out around that time, and the scientific reason and explanation that you had on that, it's the very reason why Huawei supercharging, Oppo's VOCC VOOC charging, and OnePlus's dash charging exists, is to negate and to fix those problems that quick charging doesn't do, right? Even though quick charging is not proprietary, it's not that it's not proprietary, but let's just say quick charging is an open license, right? It's licensed by Qualcomm, but it's an open license based on the fact that so many OEMs use their chipsets and kind of follow the principles of their electrical circuitries to build their phone, if that makes sense, right? So it's an open license. It's because of that, you wouldn't say it's proprietary, but it's an open license, you see. But the method that they've gone towards, right, actually causes those problems of actually, you know, damaging your batteries, because obviously it's a scientific reaction. I'm on your side because I look at those things, right? Because it's a scientific reaction. Exothermic heat dissipation, right, is a problem. It's a negative effect in any way, right? And because in terms of like the law of thermodynamics, it takes the fact that the envelope that these phones have to work with are small compared to your base unit PC, right? You see, they don't have an envelope. There's nothing really in terms of room to dissipate. They are fanless, meaning they're passive. They're not active in terms of cooling. These are all factors that cause major damage over time. You may not see it, but it is damaging the product, right? So this is where, again, Huawei supercharging and OnePlus's dash charging exists, because it is trying to... Yeah,
that's the word I was thinking about earlier. Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
Sorry,
it's cool.
Just popped into my head.
It's cool. So to kind of like back you on that one, this is why those technologies are just they are a progression of being game changing, right? Because it really speeds up. It doesn't affect, basically when you're using these products, if your screen is on 100% brightness and you're using it, it makes no difference to the charging speed. The phone just charges at the exact same rate as if the screen was off. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, that's phenomenal. And you're not getting the heat output that it would do if it was actually being passed through, right? So, no, it was completely scientifically advisable in terms of that. And it was just factual. It wasn't anything of like, oh, you're using your phone wrong. It's kind of like more of an onus on smartphone manufacturers, kind of need to make it easier for it to fit around our usage habits, right?
Yeah.
You know, and smartphone manufacturers are doing that, i.e. Oppo, Huawei, and OnePlus. You know, if that helps, that's one. In terms of display resolution, I think marketing has really just not helped people. One company I blame for that is Sony. Sony are the ones that really made the whole K thing a marketing thing,
right?
You know, so Sony, if you look at all of Sony's TV marketing, and even just when they pushed, like, you know, ultra high definition recording in smartphones on their Z series and their X series phones from way back, they were the ones that were really pushing the whole marketing of 4K and 2K. You know, marketing really didn't help with that. But again, when you're talking about, you know, your DCI cinema standard and also true 4K, if we're talking about the resolution of actual genuine true 4K, it's actually 4096 by 2304. That's the professional format. That is actually, you know, that is actually the full fat 4K, right? And then what you again have is the DCI wide format in the 17:9 aspect ratio of 4096 by 2160.
That's it.
Right. And then you've got the consumer 4K, right, which is the ultra high definition. This is what we're used to because again, it's much more accessible. It's more accessible, but it's also based on aspect ratio. That resolution fits on the 16:9 aspect ratio that we're used to. So people don't realize how much aspect ratio kind of dictates your vertical and horizontal resolution, you know. So
it's very true of like when another thing to come out of this, I've got like, honestly, I made a folder for every video that I'm planning to make.
Oh yeah,
it's like 30 folders on my desktop.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But one of the ones to do with cameras is and not a lot of people know this, but when you get because typical camera sensors are generally around the 4:3 aspect ratio.
Yeah. The micro four thirds. Yeah.
Around that. So when you, and even in smartphones, right? So when you take your smartphone, it may be 16:9, 18:9, you know, anything like that. It usually in the camera app or the default camera app will switch and default to a lower resolution than your camera sensor is capable of, or the phone is capable of, but it fills the display, and that's what makes it really cool, you know, when you use the essential phone to take photos.
Yes.
It kind of fills the whole display. It looks cool.
Yeah.
To get a better photo, it's usually cropping like a lot, like a big amount. You're losing maybe a third of your resolution. Yeah. And obviously that is to almost extend from what you were saying. It's also to do with aspect ratio. If the aspect ratio was native, you to 12, 16, 20 megapixels, whatever it is. Yeah. But phone is usually cropping that down maybe 20, 30%. So.
Right, quick interlude. I need to change the battery on my camera because I'm not having continuous power as of yet, but my new Sony should fix that.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. That's going to be so cool. I'm so pumped, honestly. It's going to be great. Oh, someone's just posted a comment. The Tech Mac. I need some advice. I've purchased an Nexus 6P and the battery is absolutely terrible. And the phone itself gets really warm. What should I do? Get a refund or repair the battery? I got two friends, Callum. I only have two friends. No one else in Unplugged.
You got me. Come on, man. You got me. Add me to the friend list.
There you go. So yeah, we've got. They both got 6Ps. Both have different experiences with them. They got them around the same time, maybe 6 months ago. And Harry's one got really bad because the battery started expanding inside the phone. Now, thankfully, Harry is pretty technically advanced person, so he managed to fix that himself. Bought a new battery off eBay, replaced it. And if you have that opportunity, even if your phone isn't breaking, I recommend, if you're buying a used phone, just go and swap the battery out as fast as possible with a genuine one. Don't get like a larger battery because, you know, on specs on paper it looks to be a better battery. Get a proper one, do it yourself, take your time, replace it. Not only will the battery life increase, secondly the phone won't get so warm, and thirdly you'll actually get better performance
because it won't thermal throttle. It won't have those weird spikes. It will get the genuine
heat comes from the battery and then kind of expands around the phone, but you're not going to have that. Well, you might do it to a small degree, but nothing like what you're experiencing right now.
100%. Remember that your battery is life, hence battery life. The battery is the source of the power that it draws for the phone to do everything. So it needs correct current voltage and ampage going to all the components properly when it needs to, because remember your components in there are passively cooled, so it needs to be able to work within the thermal dynamics in terms of the envelope, what it's doing. You know, you've got sensors on there that kind of behave and kind of watch what happens in terms of the task that you're running, when it needs to really throttle down, when it needs to spike up to maximum, when it needs to plateau, depending on the chipset, whether it's using a big little ARM architecture, whether it's using all the core, like this is again what makes an argument about $1,000 smartphone could actually be a bargain, because the little things that make these products run is phenomenal, right? Absolutely. It's absolutely phenomenal. So there's arguments to be made for that. But yeah, that's great advice from Ryan for sure, 100%. So I answered about the battery degradation on the fast charging. I talked about the what do you call it, the resolution which you're right. I get where people are having a bit more stick, because again, this is what marketing can do, right? How, and I honestly, I know it from fact. I blame Sony for that. Sony are the biggest culprit for that. If you look in the old camera UIs of the Sony phones, right, whereas maybe like your Android phones from Samsung would have said UHD, Sony would say 4K. You see, so it's more marketing. It's marketing that really enforced that kind of ease of terminology. That's it. It's just ease of terminology, even though it's wrong. Right? Because
I agree.
There's two things that you need to consider that people don't really look at that much, you know, your aspect ratio, your bit rate. Those are two things that really don't get mentioned a lot when it comes to videos. So example, if you go back and watch your old Seinfeld films, TV shows, or Everybody Loves Raymond or Fraser, right? On my new curved screen, flat screen from Samsung, right, I've got black borders on the side because it was shot in a box square 1:1 aspect ratio or 4:3 aspect ratio, which is kind of like a rectangular aspect ratio, right?
Yeah, I got you.
You see? So I'm there thinking like, whoa, this is crazy, you know? So
no, I agree. It's something that obviously, like, back when, well, I wasn't necessarily hugely aware at the time because I was a very small child. But when we switched from 4:3 to 16:9, because it was kind of in my childhood that we made that switch.
Yeah.
Everyone seemed to hate the switch, especially my parents. They really didn't like the switch because wider kind of had the illusion that everything kind of got stretched.
Yeah.
The actual what do you call it? The real estate getting bigger.
Yeah.
And that was something that we hated on for a while. But the thing is I don't remember, apart from on computers where 16:10 was very, very popular.
Oh yeah, like your 2560 by 1600
like
resolutions.
And the
yeah, your ultra. Yeah, it's true.
There wasn't a huge variation in aspect ratios, right? But
yeah.
Now that we're here, and we're you know, again, there might be a migration of aspect ratios even down to the TV side, let alone in just phones, right? There are so many ratios that no one can seem to decide on. That is really frustrating. Like on the PC side, 21:9 is kind of a standard, but meh. And then on the phones, you know, pretty much every company's doing what they want. And it makes developing for these platforms. You know, Android has so many different variations.
19:9, 18.5:9, 18.7:9. 18:9, there's 17:9, there's 16, just like what?
Like, I'm pretty sure Essential Phones is like 15.5
but yeah,
wide or slightly narrower than
it's just an aspect ratio free for all.
Absolutely, and I think that's where we are in a very stagnant stage where everyone's kind of I'm
figuring it out.
None of the companies are going to have the pride to say, look, we will follow you. I think they're all going to be like, you have to follow us.
Yeah.
Ignorance is going to, and that arrogance is just going to make it just impossible to develop for these.
100%. So that answers
as well. So
yeah. Oh dear Lord. I don't watch video on full screen on my iPhone because I just can't bear it. It's like, you know, it's not shot in the right aspect ratio. That's bad enough. Then there's a cutoff on the side. Oh, it's such an eyesore. And I'm like, let me just go back to 16:9. I don't have that problem because obviously with my S9 Plus, I can deal with the fact that if, let's just say, more and more, like for me, I'm trying to compose more of my videos in the 18:9 aspect ratio, 2:1. Yeah. And you know, that's another thing that I'm looking forward to on the Sony A6300 is you've got built-in frame guides. So that when you're actually, so it's built in. So with those built-in frame guides, you can actually frame guide and put your aspect ratio through, and you can actually, you know, you can see it, right? You can see what you're framing, even though maybe the sensor itself shoots in 16:9, right? So it's one of those things, right? So I have less that problem on the S9. So when someone actually shoots in an aspect ratio, it is such a joy to watch because you're not getting any cropping, you're getting the right framing. It's phenomenal. But again, like you're right, that is what kind of messes up this marketing of what the correct terminology for the resolution is, whether it's quad high definition, wide quad high definition, wide quad high definition plus, UHD, DCI 4K, true 4K, right? It's the marketing, right? It's the marketing. So that answers that. You said one more thing. Was there a third one that I missed?
I can't even remember what we were talking about. Aspect ratios.
So it was the 2K video. It was
that's sorry, the videos. 2K, battery, and then the $1,000. $1,000.
Oh, dude, yeah. This one I really want to like eat into it hard. And as much as just by principle, I just don't agree with any of these high spike smartphones, right? I just that's just out of principle. Right. That's just I'll touch on the principle part where I just don't agree with these smartphones costing this much money. It's just, and this is coming from someone that rocks with the high end, right? I rock with the high end camp, and I don't agree with how far they're just taking it right now, right? But again, when you bring it down to earth with all those things, and I saw some comments where people were saying that, oh, if you're saying that, you know, the smartphone can do all these video shooting modes, why not use the smartphone to make all your YouTube videos? And it's like, yeah, you could use it. The only reason why you don't use it is because of either things like sensor size, because again, smartphones, how powerful they are, right, is always a downfall for the physical sensor size, but it doesn't take away the processing power, right? The processing power still stands as a separate entity, right? And just out of just being a slight gearhead and watching a lot of other channels that do camera comparisons, like your Tony and Chelsea Northrup and your Max Yuriev and all these other guys that do great tutorials and education on photography and gear and stuff, right? When they are sitting down and actually praising how powerful smartphone processing have come, they're like, we wish camera manufacturers could actually learn from smartphone manufacturers, because smartphone computational power is just so way ahead of what these guys are doing in the DSLR and the mirrorless market that it's actually frustrating for us to see that, right? Yes, the only thing we can hold on to is that physically we have bigger sensors that are more advanced in terms of sensor size and just what we can do in terms of adding low pass filters, anti-aliasing filters, cleaner sensors, you know, interchangeable lenses, you know, all these things are where we hold the edge. But at the end of the day, in terms of raw computational power, you know, look at Apple. We discussed this, like, what? I can't stress enough how scary and how they're Apple's system on a chip designers, right? Yes, Apple still relies on people like Samsung, TSMCs to actually fabricate and go through the manufacturing process for these chips to come out, fine. But in terms of their actual chip designers, the ones that sit down to actually design the architectural properties of these system on a chips, they are on a different level. Like, it's scary. It's scary. Yes, iOS, in terms of just the fact that iOS itself is just a very streamlined experience and it doesn't really open much possibilities for you as the end user to kind of get customizability out of it. So it kind of seems like, what's the point of me having this system on a chip when I can't really use it? Well, minus the video shooting modes, because the video shooting modes are a very, very, very clear indication of how powerful your system on a chip is. And the iPhone is just, wow. Just that by itself, in terms of just the research and development and just what it can do, it's, well, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. The main things that we touched upon were, one, that you said that it shoots to storage without any limitations, so it doesn't need that buffer, which is an indication of how fast the memory is, and also like the actual system on the chip itself. And secondly, I suppose there's two other things here, but they kind of merge into the same thing. One is it's powered off a battery, and secondly, the battery and the whole system as you mentioned earlier, is passive.
Exactly. So can you imagine that kind of processing power in something like a mirrorless camera body, like in a GH5 or in an A7 III? That would be mental. Absolutely mental.
I bet you if these companies charged crazy prices with those system on chips in the cameras, people wouldn't bat an eye.
Oh, they wouldn't. Oh, come on.
Like, it's fine in a camera, but not in a phone. Like,
but in a phone.
Yeah.
You know, and if you consider what a phone is doing in terms of like, look, right now, guys, again, this is not sponsored. Right now, this live stream is coming off my iPhone 10. Right? I'm live streaming to Twitch, to my YouTube channel, to Ryan's YouTube channel in crispy 1080p 60 frames a second. And it's not skipped a beat. Not once. It's not jittered, it's not buffered, it's not. And right now I'm being so intense where I'm looking at my OBS, I'm looking at Ryan's channel, I'm looking at my channel, I'm looking at I've got like maybe 5 live streams happening at the same time from a phone using a very powerful 4G long-term evolution LTE modem, right? That is giving me gigabit speeds down and up.
Yeah.
Just think about that for a moment. I can't use my home broadband because my home broadband is reliable and it's crap. Unfortunately, mind my French. I'm relying on my smartphone to be able to be a content creator. Without this, I couldn't actually be a content creator. I couldn't do YouTube. Even if I was actually doing it in 720p, I couldn't do it.
I got you. No, I resonate with that. My friend Harry, again, to bring him up, he seems to be a topic of conversation a lot, but he bought a bunch of like £50 eBay phones and tethered them together, and he gets multiple gigabit up and down, and he lives in the middle of nowhere. His broadband connection doesn't exist, but he was able to have a bunch of SIM contracts, connect them to his phone, and then using his, I don't know, the guy's a genius when it comes to programming, tether them together, and he's getting multiple gigabit. And I live in Cornwall. Good luck finding that.
Exactly. How do you put a price tag on that? That is an intangible and an invaluable thing that without that kind of accessibility, you can't actually do what you need to do. You don't have access, right? How do you put a price tag on that? So I resonate with that. Yes, by principle, in terms of we're looking at the general consumer market, right? Yeah, £1,000. Nah, bro. No. No.
But again, remember what we were talking about the other day? It's crazy how many people buy these phones on a contract, so they don't even see the big chunk of money leave their bank account.
Exactly. But just based on the sheer technical prowess, right, and especially the time that we live in, right, it is amazing what these products can do. It's amazing. Heartlification. Oh, that's my older brother. Shout out to Heartlification in the chat as well. Thank you, big bro, for joining the live stream. What is the need to slow down the phones so new ones can function better? Why? Designed obsolescence. Designed obsolescence is just for marketing. It's just to keep the companies and their new products more relevant. You know, it's just designed obsolescence. That's nothing new. If you watch, there was a documentary that I watched on BBC back in the day where they talked about there was a committee that came together about light bulbs and how light bulbs were built, and they actually decided to actually gimp it on purpose to make sure that they were resellable products. So, you know, it's not a conspiracy. Designed obsolescence is a thing, unfortunately.
Right, I'm going to take a short break. I need to go to the loo, but I'm sure Ben will have loads of things to talk about in the chat.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Take this as a nice short interlude. Ryan is going, and he will be back. So I will kind of do this as a nice little kind of radio interlude break. So again, thank you guys over at the FailTech family for having me on the show and for us live stream collaborating together. Again, I'm your host Ben from the Lover of Tech channel. If you would like to, definitely man, on this replay as well as live, make sure you come over to the channel, hit that subscribe button, as well as when you do hit that subscribe button, make sure that you hit that notification bell so you're part of the Tech Lover Squad Team TLS, so you do not miss any new content that is posted on the Lover of Tech channel. Me and Ryan will be together to be doing more of these live streams together for sure. If you guys definitely enjoy and want to be seeing more of it, without a shadow of a doubt, man, we'll be more than happy to kind of tech and chill, unplug, and really share and engage. One thing that we really want to make sure that is a paramount experience to what we do, and what I really want for this Tech and Chill show is to make it a lot more engaging, right? And definitely make it more engaging where you know, just talk to you guys. You know, you realize that for the first hour of the live stream, everything that was actually being discussed was from you guys in terms of the audience, the questions that you were answering, the questions that you were asking, and also just being able to kind of like get your perspectives on things as well, you know, and what you want to know and what your recommendations are, what you guys are excited about, and what you kind of want to bring to the table. So definitely, man, we want to make it an engaging show as much as possible. Definitely as well, follow me on social media. I am very active on Twitter, Lover of Tech BA, all as one word, Lover of Tech BA, all as one word. So link in the description on my channel. I don't know if Ryan has put it on his channel, but definitely link in the description below in on my channel live stream, and you will be able to see all the engagement and all the kind of like behind the scenes things that I will be doing in terms of my channel, the Tech and Chill show, all the other live guests that we want to be bringing onto the table as well. And again, I want to be able to do a round table, so being able to do a round table experience would be great, because we can have a free guest panel like you're seeing right now, where you know, we can really have a diverse conversation and bring different perspectives to the table as well, so that people can kind of join the conversation, you know, talk about what they're excited about when it comes to technology, see what's coming, trends, news, what's happening and whatnot. You know, there's so much that is happening in the tech world that, you know, you can't be bored. You can't be bored. You can't be bored. There's so much happening. There's so much happening. So that kind of diversification is what I want to bring to the table. So definitely, man, hit me up on Instagram as well. I'm active on there. We've got a Facebook fan page as well for the Lover of Tech family. So definitely, if you want to hit it up there, without a shadow of a doubt, definitely come through, share the conversation, be part of the community, 100%. And that'll be great. And also for everyone that is also in the live stream from the Lover of Tech family, definitely, man, get over to FailTech, subscribe to Ryan. He does amazing content regularly, and build that community as well. He's doing a great job on his channel. So let me check my live stream. So there's no need, just so you can go buy a new one. Yeah, no, you know, that's from Heartlification. Again, there isn't, but it's pure marketing. It's pure marketing. I need to get a gaming headset. Have any recommendation? Gaming headset wise, I'm not really the best person to give you a recommendation on that. I apologize.
I can give some recommendations if that's what's happening.
Okay, cool. Ryan is back.
Yeah,
Ryan is back. No need to be sorry. Ryan is back.
So yeah, I've just had a banana as well, so I'm proper energized now.
Nah, it's good. It's good.
Headsets, I recommend people go, if you can, and this is not what everyone can do, but you go separate microphone and headphones, and then any choice of good quality. I mean, if you compare the two, maybe a £50 headset might have the same audio quality as like a £10 pair of headphones. It's crazy how the differences were there. However, if you do just want a pure headset, HyperX Cloud 2s are really good. They do have a few quality control issues, but as long as you get a good warranty, I mean, once you have a pair that really work, the quality, and especially the microphone quality as well.
Awesome. Really awesome. Thank you, Ryan. You see, this is it, man. This is it. We got to catch both sides, 100%. So hopefully that answers your question, Mohib. Mohib, that's from my chat of the live stream. How was the audio levels, guys? How was the background music? How's the audio for me and Ryan? Can you guys hear us clearly? Are we too quiet? Are we too loud? Is the balance off? Give us some feedback throughout, but seeing as most people are not saying much, we are hoping that the audio levels have been aced, as well as the image quality as well. So I will pause and continue from there. Tyler G, good day Benjamin, just tuned in, better late than never, never late is better. Hope you're doing well. I'm enjoying your content, it's very thorough and helpful. Thank you so much, Tyler, much appreciated. Thank you for joining the live stream. The live stream is getting close to 2 hours, which I'm not complaining. I am not complaining at all. The original plan was actually to live stream on my channel, then jump over to Ryan's channel, but thanks to the power of Restream.io, again not sponsored, we are able to simultaneously stream in high quality 1080p 60 frames a second on both our channels at the same time, so you guys do not have to worry about jumping back and forth through our channel. And also for those that actually will go back and re-watch this live stream, definitely you're going to be able to engage and be part of the replay crew and have it in a high quality format as well. So that is phenomenal. That's something I'm actually very happy about. So yeah. Do you want to jump on to another topic? Do you have any? Oh yes, price wars. Price wars. This is something that is very, very dear to me, right? This is something that has been very, very, very itchy, because it's a very, very defining part of what can make or break a product, right? Price. Yeah. Nowadays it couldn't be even more of a sensitive issue. It's a very, very sensitive issue. Unfortunately, Andy Rubin's company Essential is up for sale, you know, just like what happened to Nextbit. They are up for sale, and that is a company that is less than a year old, right? Which I think is just really, really disappointing. It's really sad and it's heartbreaking, because to not even make it a year and to be up for sale, it really speaks testament to how punishing the community can be when you price something wrong in their eyes, right? Absolutely. And when you execute like wrong.
A lot of people, what's that word? They just cut that out just because of the price. They brought the price down later, but that was still not enough.
It was not enough. It was almost like, again, because of the aggressive back-to-back release of OEMs and other Android manufacturers, it really makes it easy to forget, right? Look at OnePlus. OnePlus announced their phone. Before that, LG announced their phone. On my birthday, which was a week after HTC with the U12 Plus. Next week, we're looking at, you know, another gaming phone. Like, it's like, yo, you know, Nexus Hydrogen one from Red. It's like, you don't have space to breathe. You don't have space to not execute your product properly. You don't have space to not educate your audience about what your target focus for your product is and what it's going to cost them to play ball. You can't afford not to do that. So my first exhibit one is let's talk OnePlus and LG, and I did a live stream single man about this issue, right? OnePlus in this current climate, and I always judge a product based on their starting price, right? The starting price is what to me a product should be based on, right? It's the same as when you're buying a car. A car starting price is what it's based on. If you want to spec it up and you want more, that's for your use case scenario.
Yeah.
Right. That's your use case scenario. You want more storage, you want leather seats, you want this, you want that. That is your use case scenario. But if we're going to judge it from the starting price, right? OnePlus in the UK, 469. Phenomenal for what you're getting. The Honor 10, 399. 4 gigs of RAM, 128 storage, Kirin 970.
399.
It is absolutely 399. It's only one SKU that's in UK, available at 3, one SKU 399. So again, it's battling that £400 to £500 bracket in terms of starting price, right? 4 gig, 128 storage, Kirin 970, right? Which in its oh yeah. So again, that's that. LG in the UK, and I'm specifically talking about in the UK, unlocks from the Carphone warehouse, which in the US is the equivalent to Best Buy, right? 599. You know, if you're looking at HTC U12, right? The U12 Plus, £800 starting price. It really speaks volume for where these phones sit.
No, I have to agree there. I think it's like, again, and we've talked about this, in different markets, the pricing is just completely different.
Oh, shocking.
And
shocking.
So And a lot of my audience, I think like a good 30% of my audience is from the US. So when I talk about some of these products and some of these things, they're like, what are you on about? It's a completely different price. And yeah, okay, over there, but over here, we get completely different deals.
Completely.
And to the point where you actually have to put a phone in a different category.
Yeah. And what you're saying is so true. Where I've been defending the LG G7 to be given a chance in the UK, minus LG's poor product execution and marketing, right, is I'm looking at it as they are a bigger OEM. They are going to be in more places to be able to sell their product where they're not limited to maybe one carrier, one network, or one retailer, right? So the fact that in the UK, against a top tier OnePlus, OnePlus 6 at 569, it's a £30 difference, right? This now makes the LG competitive for many reasons. Wireless charging, a genuine IP ingress protection rating that's been certified, your mil-spec A10G drop resistance, your memory card, and also your headphone jack, right? So your memory card for expandable memory, your headphone jack as well, right? So, and also on top of that, they've genuinely got probably the best audio experience on a smartphone, right? From the headphone jack with the quad hi-fi DAC, and also the resonance chamber, supposedly from what I've heard, it is genuinely that damn good, which is impressive because a lot of people were worried about why they just didn't go for stereo speaker setup, right? So that's credit to them. So I think those kind of not intangible, but those kind of hardware features speak volume for the markup, right? So for me, if I relate it to myself, I've got children and my kids, I love them to bits, but my goodness, they've damaged 3 phones due to water damage that were not ingress protection. So if I'm relating it to myself, when a phone doesn't have a genuine IP rating, it's a deal breaker for me. I know nowadays there's a lot of things that are not deal breakers, but an IP rating on a phone is a deal breaker to me because I can't spend that money for it to be damaged by water. I just can't. No. No.
Dude, it's completely reasonable. I think that especially that there's no excuse, is there, for not having that nowadays? I mean,
no.
Back in the day when you had those plugs over the port,
the flaps and stuff.
Yeah, and now, you know, when you've got the most arguably beautiful phones, you know, with the iPhone, and for me, the most beautiful phone is the S9 Plus.
Oh yeah.
When you have that phone with IP68 and that level of protection, and you are not putting it into a phone that maybe is arguably not as well, not as beautiful, or maybe is more built like a tank. I think it's stupid. I think that there's no reason not to have it nowadays. You know, it's just not even an argument to be made anymore.
But you see, on the flip side, in the US, the LG G7 is completely priced wrong. It's a $750 to $800 phone.
Right.
That's wrong. Like, they're not going to be able to compete with that price tag. They're not. Even though they have a network or carrier like T-Mobile or AT&T that is able to actually subsidize the phone and make it more accessible compared to OnePlus, where America... And to this day, I still don't understand why all the 4 main networks in America don't have GSM-based networks. It's either CDMA or it's either, GSM, you know? So that kind of makes it very weird to develop phones in terms of the radio signals that you need to put in there to be compatible with an American network, right? This is where OnePlus are hurting themselves because they can't seem to crack that code, right? Their phones are only compatible with 2 networks in America. Doesn't help them. Right. You see, so that kind of shifts things into play. But then again, you have HTC, for example, U12, starting price of $800. Yes, it works on all the 4 networks in America, but yet none of the networks are actually having the phone in store.
Right. Yeah.
So then where my mind is how are you competing if you don't have any network support, right? But yet you're charging. So technically your overhead should be less if you're not going through carriers like that. It should be less. So you doing that in terms of pricing isn't helping you compete, even though I'm actually genuinely very excited for the U12. The U12 Plus is a phone I am actually very excited for. Right? You know, minus 2 emissions of the headphone jack wireless charging. I'm actually very excited for that phone because when the U11 first came out, one thing I said is I can see them progressing and actually making a buttonless phone, and they did. I'm actually very, very excited for a buttonless phone. I think it's very clutch, speaking for myself. I think it's absolutely phenomenal, right? I love the fact that it doesn't have a notch. I love the fact that even with the flat display that they've actually got on there, the side bezels are non-existent. I don't know if you've seen it, but the U12 Plus's side bezels don't exist.
Right. I haven't seen
oh, dude, it's clean AF. It is legitly clean. It's I love it, you know. Again, they've stuck to their formula where they're using Super LCD 6. It's a quad high definition display. It's 18:9 aspect ratio, which I love. It's sharp, it's bright. You know, they've gone for a dual camera setup with a telephoto zoom lens rather than a monochromatic lens. I'm excited for that phone, but then again, they've hurt themselves in terms of how they've priced it.
Yeah, I think it's okay. So my little interjection, because I have a comment somewhere on here that I was going to answer a while ago, but it also is to do with the pricing. It was 70. Someone asked what the best budget offering was for £70 out of the LG G3, Galaxy S5, or Xperia Z3, and if you're good at modifying software, in my opinion, the S5 is the best. If you really want a solid phone that isn't going to break, doesn't have any glaring issues, and that is like a safe option, go with the Xperia Z3. And if you want something that has a super high-res display and some great, maybe some great options in terms of expandable nature, however you might get a boot looping problem, then go with the G3. If it was me, I'd go Xperia just because I like those front-facing speakers. That crazy. Those were good. Those were good. Although the LG did from the G2 was one of the only few phones that really did optical image stabilization really well. You know, so I if that matters to you, you know, that is something to also consider. But yeah, I do agree with those options, and those are all 3 phones that I've rocked with as well. So those are good choices for those scenarios and situations that you just stated. Ryan, can you pick up your volume, please? Okay. I'll increase Ryan's volume a little bit. I'll drop the background music volume just a tad wee bit. Someone put on my chat, on my comments, can barely hear you without having my whole city here, Benjamin.
Sorry, I get very, 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 very passionate when I'm actually discussing tech with someone that can kind of relate. So apologies, I'll try and calm down as much as I can.
No, I'm sure it's just the audio setup. I'm sure your audio seems fine at my end. So yeah. I've kind of balanced it the best I can. So again, give feedback on the audio if you want it to be better or balanced in any other way. I'm actually in your chat right now, Ryan. Can you pick up the volume? I can barely hear you over. Yep. Should get the Pixel XL or the S7. Pixel XL for me. If I could pick, if I could have any budget phone right now, it'd be the Pixel XL, the original one.
Yeah.
I found one the other day for like £230. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm not, you know, I do have a Pixel 2, a normal Pixel 2. I'm not a stock Android person because I just find it boring compared to what Motorola, I mean, we had that discussion before, compared to what Motorola and OnePlus do to the implementation of stock Android. I think Google's implementation of stock Android is actually boring in my IMO, in my opinion.
No, that's fair, man. We have completely contrasting opinions because I love stock Android. However, I will agree, and I have to say this, I've said in the past it's OnePlus, but for me, after messing around with that X4 the other day, Motorola do the best software. Yeah, and I say both of them. I agree with you. I say both of them. It's just because I just haven't rocked with a Motorola phone to know. But yeah, I can kind of bring testament to what people say, because there's always the contrast in two of it's either Motorola or OnePlus that do the best iteration of stock Android, to the point where when you go back to stock Android, you think, come on, this, like, I can't swap my icons around, I can't change these. It's not mega things, but it's like, why can't you just let me do these subtle little things? Why, you know? Yeah.
So
no, I agree.
I agree with that in that retrospect. So yeah, Pixel 2, but again, I actually like skinned Android, so I would say S7. I'll say S7 for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the software on the S7, when it comes to the camera software, if you're really into your pro photography and you like messing around with settings, S7's got you covered there.
Oh yeah.
It's also got ingress protection, a higher ingress protection rating
compared to IP53, which was on the Splash. So
which is basically nothing.
Nothing.
I
like.
Of course, you've got micro SD
nothing.
expansion as well. That's something that recently has become a big thing for me. And since basically my SD card, one of my SD cards broke. That's why my last video was shot with the 4. SD and micro SD, the interchangeability, it makes my life a hell of a lot easier.
Oh yeah.
Even when I had my S7 Edge, I never used it, but now I'm annoyed that the OnePlus 3 doesn't have expansion for that. But not because I want to expand the storage, but because it's easier to transfer the media from one place to another. Yeah, and
this is where, when you compare in the UK, I actually think LG have priced the initial price of the LG G7 correct. I think they have, and I think them doing that will give the opportunity that after the first month, it actually will be a £500 phone outright. I think based on those lifestyle additions of interchangeable memory expandability, your IP rating being genuine, your headphone jack still being there, having wireless charging where you kind of you forgive it more for having a glass design because it has wireless charging. It's not just using glass as a means of a shiny aesthetic and elegance, but there's function out of the form, right? Yeah. It's not just the form with no function, you see. So those things make me lean more towards it, even though possibly the software isn't as polished. Possibly the software and the phone itself is not as powerful or as efficient for RAM management, because it's actually working with a base 4GB RAM compared to a base 6GB or 8GB of RAM on the OnePlus 6, right? I lean, and also the fact that the camera itself arguably is a lot more versatile for photography, although the video features and the video prowess for some reason is very limiting on the LG G7. Right, it doesn't have the high frame rate video shooting modes. The stabilization is not as great. Basically it seems like they did the same thing that Huawei did with the P20 and the P20 Pro, where they focused on the versatility for photography, but in terms of videography and what it can do in terms of sheer video capabilities and taking advantage of the Snapdragon 845 SoC, they just didn't bother. They just didn't bother, which is a shame. So, but those things make me want to give LG more of a chance, even though their product execution is absolutely shocking, to the point where I'm actually annoyed that there's been full reviews of this product that hasn't officially launched yet.
Yeah, that is crazy.
You know,
I think they just need there are so many problems with LG. I'm not biased because I'm a phone reviewer. I don't have a bias towards a certain company in terms of recommending or saying that a company is bad or whatever, but for my personal taste, I don't think unless LG does something crazy, I don't think I'd pick up another LG phone for personal use. I think I'm not because I hate LG, but I think that the other offerings do a better job. If someone handed me a V30 right now, I wouldn't complain and be like, yeah, this is great. Yeah. If to go out of my way to purchase it, I don't think it would be. And this is the confidence inspiring part that they're just not doing. Product announcement to actual product release and availability, right? This is where they're missing it. You announced your phone before OnePlus 2 weeks before them. You announced it 2 weeks before OnePlus, but yet OnePlus have been able to get their product out quicker than you, right? Yeah. More people are buying OnePlus 6s. Goodness sake, people queuing up to buy OnePlus 6s, queuing, right? The only other manufacturer that's been able to make people queue to buy their product is Apple. People were queuing to buy the OnePlus 6, right? Yet still, in the UK, the only time I could officially buy an LG G7 is 1st of June. That's crazy. I didn't even know it was like that.
Exactly.
That's exactly how little I follow LG stuff these days.
Exactly, right? And that is painfully, that's a bad place for them to be in. It's a terrible place for them to be in, right? How do you get confidence for people to be able to even get your product to recommend? You see, so price wars is one thing where price dictates how good your product looks or how bad it looks. It can make, especially in the Android space, right? Because Apple seems to get away with it because they don't license their software for another manufacturer to be able to use it. So they seem to be able to get away with pricing their stuff wrong, because you can't say, let me go get the alternative iOS phone from a different OEM equivalent to this. You can't do that. You know, you don't have that benefit to do on iOS. So Apple are kind of very smart in terms of how they market their products in that retrospect, right? But in the Android space, you cannot do that. You cannot mess up. There's no room. There's no room. There's no room. And as someone as you that uses the Essential phone, what's your take on what is happening to the company right now?
I think that it was a bit optimistic with their pricing. To be fair, if someone handed me like an Essential phone again, I had this opinion back when I first reviewed it. I think it's reasonable to charge that much if you look at it purely from the actual device. But when you charge that much, you actually have to have company security, which is something that they didn't have because this is their first release, remember? So if that phone, that exact model with the exact features and the software, basically that phone was released by a company that had already got that confidence in them, such as Samsung or Apple, I think that that would have become a steal for $700 or however much it released for. But because it came from a company I already knew about, and to be fair, it wasn't marketed pretty much at all. It was from word of mouth. It was too optimistic to release a phone like that at that price.
I think on top of you even talking about that, you know, Juan Carlos Bagnell, some gadget guy, he does his own thing on his channel. He works with Newegg as well as Pocket now. He was tweeting out some very sound stuff about the whole Essential situation as well. And I think even against bad marketing and stuff, they should have at least budgeted 3 generations of potential loss before they actually made any grounds, right? Yeah. And I think them not budgeting, at least being able to survive a year to bring out the PH2, really, for me, it's just disappointing. It's just disappointing.
It's just bad business.
Yeah,
practice, basically.
Yeah. You don't. I just don't think it's good that they did that. I hope someone can buy them like they bought Next Bit Robin with Razer to revamp and actually put a good business model through where they can budget for that, right? I hope someone does that, because the Essential phone is one of those phones that I'm so gutted I didn't get to use.
Oh, it's amazing.
For me personally, I love what it stands for, the use of titanium, the use of ceramic, like the elegance of it, you know, the approach. Like I just think for me personally, if they had priced it even at break even or a slight loss, it would have been better. They did that like what OnePlus did with the OnePlus One, where the initial starting price was $299. But come on, man, OnePlus they weren't making money off that initially. They were selling that phone at a loss until it possibly got to the 6-month life cycle where maybe getting the components for that became cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay. Right? In terms of business modeling, there's no way with the specs and the components that they were breaking. I don't even think they were breaking even. Sorry, I don't even think they were. I think generally they were selling each OnePlus One at a loss up until mid-cycle, when invite systems became easier, when you could get more codes. When they got rid of the invite system and people were buying them, that's when I think they started making enough profit where, you know, being a subsidiary to Oppo and BBK Electronics, they were like, actually, we're happy with what you did. We'll push a little bit more budget for you. You don't really need to look at too much research and development. Look at what Oppo are doing, mimic it off that, add your own little twist to it, make sure you source these components, go again, you know? I think they should have had that mindset to it.
Like that meme, like, just, can I copy your homework? Yeah, but make it not like so.
Yeah, yeah, bro. Yeah, bro, 100%. 100%. And this is where the uniqueness of the Essential phone is, that they didn't actually need to do that. And that's what really caught a lot of people's attention. I just think they should have hit at that $450 US or UK pounds price tag from the get-go. So people will be like, irrespective of how buggy the camera is or this is that, the fact that it runs stock Android, trust that it will get an update. So don't worry, buy now, right? That's what people would have done.
It wasn't even released in the UK until like well after I even tested it.
Way after, bro. Way after.
A year after release.
Way after. Way after. Like way after, you know? And this is where, for me, business practice, for me, I'm just looking at the business practice side. I'm very disappointed with how Essential handled it. You know, it's to me, it's very disappointing not to make it a year. And with God, I don't know Andy Rubin personally, but with someone of his knowledge, he should have at least assorted some form of business acumen or business model that I don't know, but it's heartbreaking. It's disappointing. You know, there was rumors that EE were meant to be one of the networks for UK to get that phone in. I was really excited for that. I would have pulled the trigger on that rather than getting my EE connection on the Pixel 2. You know, it's will they be bought? You know, there's rumors that people are saying that Amazon might cop them. I don't know, but
I don't think Amazon really. I don't know with Amazon, because they've tried the Fire
phone.
They've tried. I don't know if that's really gonna, even if they do buy it, because they have the money. Like that's fake. Amazon could buy pretty much everyone at this point. Maybe not Samsung or all that, but these companies that are kind of mid-tier, I reckon they could cop pretty quickly. But
yeah.
I just don't know if they pick them up that it would work, because I don't think there's a lot of confidence in Amazon to produce good phones now.
No.
The fact that Essential have had those quality control issues, it's kind of not. It's like a match made in hell. Put it that way.
Yeah. I'm just disappointed that they just couldn't come from a much more aggressive business model style point. And if it's not even just from an aggressive business model in terms of price and style point, they should have marketed it a lot better as a much more premium, elegant design and not gone after enthusiasts. They shouldn't have. If that was where they were going, in terms of the fact that there's no carrier bloatware, carrier redundancy software, there's no branding on there, it's clean, it's elegant, it's bespoke, they should have marketed it to those tier of people rather than enthusiasts, because the enthusiast reviewer market, are very punishing, because they, in their mind is, I need to review this in 2 weeks. I can't afford to review it in a month because I'm gonna miss the next phone. The next company sending me a phone out, I'm under NDA, I'm under embargo, so your 2 weeks is up. I need to be on this phone for the next 2 weeks. After this 2 weeks, I've got another one. This company's, and I say, do you get? They are on a and it's annoying, but it's the reality now, right? You see the same bunch of people that will flood your inbox with 18 videos of the same thing. They were all under NDA from 2 weeks ago, right? You see, so from when you price it wrong straight away, they're judging it based on that 2 weeks. All of us that go search for those videos are getting those, right? We're probably not as active. Most people are not going to be as active on social media as we are. So we're not going to be seeing what the company's saying about, oh, we've done these price drops, or we've done this, or we've done that. Because most of the time, these YouTubers and us content creators might not go back and do a follow-up on that. You might get lucky, but it will probably not happen because the next new thing has come, right? So it's so essential, pun intended, for you to get that right.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's kind of similar with the LG thing. There's no room for error in the Android space, and I think when you're releasing such a small what do you got? A small volume. Like, you think of Samsung, they can afford to mess up 1 or 2 phones because they release so many phones.
So many.
It's like every other day.
So many. And they've just got, you know, Samsung as an original equipment manufacturer, as an OEM, they are polarizing. People depend on Samsung to make their products come to life behind the scenes, right? So they've got so much money to be able to experiment, burn cash, hope this one works, hope this one doesn't work. So you're absolutely not wrong about that. And it's why where I'm talking about price wars is price, more than ever before, it is probably the most important feature to make a product either that damn good for recommend or not, irrespective of anything else. And one of those phones, again, like I said before, is the HTC U12. As excited as I am for that phone, the price is just like, nah. Not because you're not a good phone, but come on now, talk to me. £800, who are you? who are you? You're acting like you've been good in this space for a while for you to be able to come here. You know, you're on every single network, every single carrier. Come on.
It's like they've forgotten the window in between the 1M8 and now.
Yeah.
They're just like, we're still top dog. We still produce the best phones. So.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one topic that's been on my mind, that companies and pricing, it seems to be just a bit, it's almost like they're forgetting how to price right as well as communicate right and justify it right. You know, and it's hurting certain companies and it's costing them to be completely out of the game, completely, like gone. And Essential's one of them, unfortunately.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Had a question come through from Huntrin asking, should I get an S8 Plus over an iPhone 7 Plus? If it was me, weirdly enough, and a lot of people are gonna find this really weird, I would go iPhone 7 Plus. I feel like I don't really like the S8 or the S8 Plus. I prefer the S9 and the S9 Plus because they offer something that it was too similar. It almost looked like the S7 Edge was kind of 2017ized.
Yeah.
The S8. Like, there really wasn't a huge difference. The battery got smaller, the screen got slightly taller. But with the iPhone 7 Plus, you've got the dual cameras, which is something weirdly enough that the S8 Plus doesn't have.
The versatility.
You've got more first and third party software options that, in my opinion, are just leaps and bounds better than the Samsung software in terms of longevity going into the future. So if you're looking for a phone that might last you 2 or 3 years, iPhone 7 Plus is more than likely to get you further than the S8 Plus. You get IP67 water and dust resistance, which isn't the best in the world, but I mean, I've seen people with iPhone 7s dunk them in giant pools of water. You know, it's not like IP53 or whatever. And my final thing on that is that I found that the wireless connections, as in not only your data but also your Wi-Fi, tends to be a little bit cleaner of a signal on the iPhone 7 versus the S8 series. Oh
yeah, they fixed that. They fixed it since, you know, AntennaGate, and I can be testament to the fact that out of all the phones that I have, I'm trusting my iPhone to be able to catch signal, to be able to stream this to you. There's a reason for that.
Yeah,
there's an absolute reason for that. So,
you
know, I would say S8 Plus personally for me, just because of, again, the complete hardware package of wireless charging, fast charging out of the box. That's the angle I'm coming from. Having a headphone jack, having expandable memory, preference to Android, but as well as being preference to Android, I'm looking at the physical hardware. So again, this is what I love about the fact that we have good justifiable reasons where we're recommending both. So you kind of have to look at what matters to you more in terms of usability, even though we both agree, but based on what our recommendations would be, I would say the S8 Plus. So
I still think they're both amazing options. If you had to pick one.
Yeah. So not to confuse you, but hopefully it gives a different perspective on both sides to the situation.
Positives and negatives to both, really.
Yep, the polar opposite. So let me look at our conversation in here. So Tyler G, sorry for the typo. If I can get a long-lasting, long-supported feature, the full device, I don't mind paying a higher price. every other year. Yeah, every other year, definitely, not every year. Unless your carrier or your network is doing an upgrade plan where you can give your phone back and reset your contract, then it's beneficial. I'm on that.
Really cool. I like that.
There's because it really negates the fear of your depreciation of your product. So even if your product for some reason depreciates to £100, makes no difference. Give it back. It cancels all your contract, resets you back to zero. Take your new phone, start your 2 years again, and go. So unless your carrier is doing that or your network is doing that, every other year is when you should be purchasing these high-end, higher-priced phones. 100%. Every year is not
like there's like the well, with the Intel stuff, it's like TikTok. So with your iPhone, you had 7 and 8 were similar. You know, the 6 and 6S were similar.
Yeah.
The S8 and S9 are like, you know what I mean. So
yeah, I 100% agree. That's why I'm switching most of my personal devices to Apple. Yeah, that's fair play. I don't feel I can rely on Android anymore for this. Yeah, no, that's fair play. That's like I've always made this argument that my preferences Android doesn't take away these benefits that Apple has. I keep saying this. You bought an iPhone 5S from September 2013, right? Compare that to the Nexus 5, the original OG Nexus 5 that came out October 2013.
Yeah.
The iPhone 5S will be getting iOS 12. After the Worldwide Developer Conference after the 4th of June, it will be one of the phones that will be compatible to get iOS 12 in September. Please tell me, all my Nexus 5 users that are here, even if you do still have a Nexus 5, what version of Android is it running? I'll wait.
Funny, my one was 7.1.1 because I use ROMs and stuff.
Exactly. If you didn't use ROM
natively,
like you're on Marshmallow. No, I think you're on Marshmallow if you're lucky. 6.0.1. Yeah. If you're lucky, I might be wrong, but I think it's Marshmallow. So
no, I think again, you're right there.
Yeah. You see. So if you're ROMing it to 7, I know for a fact it's stuck on 6, which is Marshmallow.
Yeah.
See. So that in terms of like longevity, in terms of whether it's security, performance over time management, app compatibility as well. App compatibility, right? If that is making sure that all your new apps that are coming out from developers, updates on current apps are working, right? That in itself is worth a lot more in value over time, because that is half a decade of updates. Half a decade. Let that sink in. Half a decade of updates. That's phenomenal. So again, you switching to Apple for that reason, there's value that comes from, again, £1,000 smartphone can also be a bargain.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's crazy to see how the like it's different perspectives, because on my channel a lot of people, if I mentioned anything like that, if we brought this up on my channel as part of my video, my comment section will be filled with people going, oh, you can install ROMs, right? Which is great. And like, but that just shows you the difference in audiences. I would personally argue that the thing about my audience is they're great. I love them to bits, but they're quite narrow-minded when it comes to this, and don't realize that a lot of people buy phones other than people who are into phones. Someone might pick an Nexus 5 because it's red or it's panda, and people like the look of it. And they wouldn't even know what
but
a
an eyelid
is.
Oh yeah 100%. And looking at my comments here with Ambience Lens Photography, I think shout out to Ambience Lens Photography for just being so active in the comments. I think S9 Plus is better, as in always. I think Samsung has chosen the right direction this time onwards, and I think because they ditched the notch and are designing a foldable phone with the same old, 100% beastie hardware, not to mention a headphone jack, exactly what we said, and the feature of the Samsung is bright. No, Samsung was on point. I think by not implementing a notch, they're trying to utter. We said this earlier in terms of like what they've implemented behind the scenes in terms of research and development. The foldable phone design is definitely one of them, and a truly notchless all-screen design is probably there as well. Samsung is working hard on this one, and I think around the S10, the 10th generation. Let's hope and pray Samsung for designing a phone that folds. I trust them to bring something crazy in terms of physical hardware design. They've proven it again and again and again that they can do that. So absolutely. That again, this is the opposite side of the scale of audience, right? Let me put that back in default view. I'm in your chat comments. This, I don't know what everyone thinks, but I think this live stream is going extremely well. We are close to actually hitting 3 hours, which we kind of actually mentally budgeted for. We kind of mentally budgeted for this, so I'm so happy that we've been able to simultaneously live stream this at the same time, or else this could have easily ended up being a 6-hour live stream on both our channels.
Easy.
So for anyone that is going to be part of the replay crew, when you watch this back, definitely drop a comment, let us know that you've come through and watched it through as well. And again, thank you to the FailTech family for having me on the live show as a collaboration with Ryan, and also the FailTech family also welcome to the Lover of Tech channel as well through the Tech and Chill Show Unplugged live collaboration, which has been absolutely phenomenal. So that, from my side, is one of the major topics I really wanted to kind of bring forward. Price wars, how pricing products, especially in today's market, you know, and it's not just for mobile phones, it's also the gear that we buy, you know. It's been a big testament to what has, you know, really influenced our upgrade paths with what companies like Z Camera are doing with the E2, what Sony are doing with the A7 III, what you know, we're able to get used. You know, price talks. Price really dictates the value that you can really justify out of a product, you know. So
it could be as much as, like, for example, with camera upgrades specifically, Ben and I have been talking about this for like the past 2 or 3 days, and there are just different like use cases, and I think people who buy Sony might not be necessarily into a lot of photography, because if you look on paper, something like the GH4 is used a lot more for photography when you look at specs online and statistics. However, the GH4 has its sensors 8 megapixels smaller. And a lot of people, actually there's a lot of people I've spoken to. There's this guy called Luke who was at who lives close to me. He wants to start photography, right? And he was like, I'm only really looking for cameras with 20 megapixels or more, which is a fair argument to make, but I think that it's not everything. So I think when people look on paper, something like Canon, which is typically 18, 24, maybe 30 megapixels in some of their sensors, I think it speaks volumes that they see the price, people see the price, and people see the megapixel count, and that is it. But when you talk about, or when you go and read reviews, you watch reviews, you're into video, you're into different ways of pushing your creativity, and the way that Ben and I are really into just absolutely getting the most out of what we have, and to the point now where obviously you've got a D50-100?
D50-300. This is the one with the what you call it, the articulated screen, but it's not touch screen. So that's the one that sits below the 5500. So that's an APS-C size sensor. I can't remember the megapixels on it, but it's more photography orientated, because Canon, no, Nikon, they use contrast-based detection, autofocus. They've got 1080p 60 frames a second, which is equivalent to Canon's 650D and 1300D. It's got more video shooting modes, but without the autofocusing system, and just not having those things that make it more video centric, whether it's your zebras, your flat color profiles, your high resolution, your high frame rates. You know, it's limiting.
No, I agree. And based on that, like, I think it's crazy that people I don't think it's crazy that people think necessarily exact megapixel count, but I think it's something that will change the market. A lot of A6300s, in fact, A6300 sales in terms of just your standard buying off Amazon or Argos or Best Buy, they aren't amazing, and that's not because it's a bad camera, but it's, when you think of photography, you think of Canon and Nikon. Maybe Olympus, but mostly Canon and Nikon, and it's just, again, brings back to the price thing when it comes to phones as well. You have to really and I think this is why Chinese phones sell so well, is you kind of need to make the numbers on paper, such as the statistics, system on a chip, amount of RAM, stuff like that. They need to, in the consumer's head, align with the price.
Yeah.
And when you look at a 12 megapixel camera on a current phone, you think that's not going to be as good as a 20 megapixel camera in this Motorola or this Huawei. Or
yeah.
When in actual fact, there's a lot more that goes into it, and that's why these phones sell millions of units, because on paper the two match up perfectly.
100% agree. 100% agree. So that is one thing I really wanted to really hit on in terms of my major topic about price. I've got something else, but did you have something else that you wanted to touch on that you had on your mind in terms of a topic as well? Oh, no, anything else? I think we really hit the nail on the head in terms of price. So I don't think we have.
I think before we get into into the next topic, I'm gonna go to the loo again because I've had.
Oh, cool. I'm gonna fish through. I'm gonna fish through. Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna fish through some of the comments on my side.
Go for it. I'll be back in like 5 minutes again.
No problem. So I'm gonna switch to scene 3. See you in a bit, bro. Yeah, so it's just me for now. So I'm gonna fish through some of the comments on my chat, and I'm gonna jump over to Ryan's chat and see what you guys are saying there as well. So Ambience Lens, so Biz McVal, oh sorry, I got busy with my class assignment. No, thank you for still joining, appreciate it. We're going into 3-hour live stream, man, so we're really stretching it long. Pricing should be done in an average manner so a larger audience gets covered, and that's where Samsung is shining light upon. I don't know about Samsung, but I think OnePlus are. Samsung are really in the high end at the moment, but again, Samsung have a very large phone library, so yeah, I guess that they can reach more people when it comes to things like the A series, the J series phones. So yeah, I guess so. How about this thought? We all want innovation and new and great tech, right? Doesn't enabling in this price wars limit the manufacturer's funds that could be based to develop a tech? Just a thought. Yeah, 100%. This is, again, go check Ryan, who I'm actually doing the live collaboration with today from FailTech. Go check his channel where he actually said £1,000 smartphone is actually a bargain, or could be classed as a bargain. Definitely, there's big overheads. Go watch that video. I highly recommend you watch that video. It's absolutely phenomenal how he broke that down. So, you know, tech, that's definitely a good one. I think prices are a major concern for people who are considering a decent tech upgrade. Definitely, money talks. Steve Jobs' era was the best 2G. Phones did less then. Come on, give it some credit. There's inflation, you know, currencies change, value of currencies change. You can't compare those two. I miss Steve Jobs. We miss Steve as well. Haha. Oh wow, just thought about this. iPhone 2GS, 3GS. It's different time scales. We are screwed. There's worse things, man. There's worse things. It's not all that bad. There's worse things. I promise you, there's worse things. Wow, nice tech. Didn't notice that. Do you ever think of reviewing mid-range? I will try and review whatever I can get my hands on. I'm a small tech YouTuber. I don't have that much level access. Whatever I can get access on to review, I will review it. So if it's mid-range, if it's high-end, whatever I can do. I love doing camera comparisons on the channel, so whatever I can get my hands on, whatever I can borrow, I can do it. Anything that I have more time to do, I will do it, you know. So it's all about time and access. So yeah, that's all the questions from my chat. Let me jump over to Ryan's chat. See if I've missed anyone. Should I get a Pixel 2? Ryan is back. Ryan is back. Switch to scene 4. Bring you back into... So I've answered all the questions on my chat. See if there's anything on your chat that needs to be answered, because that's, again, one thing that we want to make sure that we do. Community engagement. Community engagement is key to the Tech and Chill Show Unplugged. So I'll see what questions are coming through.
Braden has just said, what do you think about modern budget phones versus old flagships? If you know me, old flagships, they're just, it's so easy to pick the budget stuff because it's shiny and it's new and it might not have any dings in it, and battery is brand new. But yeah, absolutely old flagships that are in the same price range as newer budget phones. And I'm not going to pronounce your name, but who has just told me about the Note 4 review. The Note 4 review is coming soon, because I'm in the middle of switching camera stuff. Yeah. I'm not gonna half shoot all of it on the. I'm not gonna half shoot it on the GH4, half shoot it on the Sony A6300. I'm just gonna wait for the camera to come through, which shouldn't be. Maybe the review will come like Friday of next week. So yeah. I mean, it
will just be easier for your workflow as well in terms of just matching footage. So
yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, but the color science between Panasonic and Sony is just completely different.
Oh yeah. Where Sony shines is just absolute sharpness, detail, low light performance, and dynamic range. People criticize their color science, but you know, just spend a bit of time and just learn how to grade on a basic level and apply a lot, not too aggressively, and it will just change the mood. You know, so if you watch people like Ash Taylor, Sam Beckman, and also Brandon Havard, they are big testament to doing that, especially Ash Taylor. You know, I love his stuff. I watch his stuff all the time, and big testament to that.
Oh, what's his? The bigger ones are like Jay's 2 Cents. Jonathan Morrison for a while shot Sony.
Oh yeah. Johnny's a good friend of mine as well. Yeah, he's
also.
I think he's ditched Red. I think he's using Arri Alexis now, from what I know.
Really?
Yeah. I think he's ditched Red. I think he's using Arri Alexis now.
Mr. Mobile. Yes, Mr. Mobile uses Sony stuff now as well.
Yeah. He's using an A7S, and he just wanted it more because he actually shoots 1080p 60 frames per second.
I know.
He doesn't actually shoot 24 or 30 frames a second, but he just wanted it for the full frame look because his environments are very tight, so he just wants the correct focal lengths, which is another thing that we were talking about in terms of adapting to full frame lenses, even with the A6300 before we jump to the A7 III later on down the line. So yeah, many things to consider.
I was doing the calculations with this company called Viltrox, who make my field monitor, and they said
I know about Viltrox. Yeah,
they make no, I know you know about it, Ben. I was talking to the audience, but
oh, sorry. Audience.
No, I know you're clued up in this stuff, man. So anyway, so they make speed boosters as well. They're not quite as well made as Metabones, right, but they're so much cheaper, and that's probably what I'm going to be switching to. Viltrox, the same thing as Metabones, only it's like a quarter of the price or something. So yeah, I'm going to give that a go. But because the sensors on the A6300s are 1.5 times crop versus 2 times crop on the Micro Four Thirds mount, when you apply even a cheap 0.71 speed booster, such as the Viltrox one, which can be had for like £100, the 18mm comes out as 19mm, so very close.
It's like a 1.1 crop.
It's tiny, yeah, and then the 35mm comes out as a 37. So like very much, like it's just a ridiculously small difference. So when you switch over to full frame, which I'm sure we will do in the future, it's not gonna be a huge difference because we've had that speed booster on the
From when Sony did that with the A7 III at that price point, full frame is now so much more accessible. And again, you know, to have a cinema camera like the Zcam E2, a cinema camera is so much more accessible now because that £2,000 threshold is just being challenged so well. It's just being challenged so well now. So I'm excited. I'm more. Full frame looked like something that was so far ahead. It's just not anymore. It's like, 100%. So you know, it's the advantage of a mirrorless camera compared to a digital single lens reflux mirrorless, like mirror design that you get in these DSLR cameras. So the future's good. The future's good for stuff like that, man. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
You'll be seeing some IRL collaborations at some point. At some point in the future, we will meet up. And the best bit is we can share, as long as we've got the same settings, we can share footage and it will look perfect.
It will look ace. It will look ace. That is definitely happening. That's not even like an if or maybe. That is definitely happening.
It's happening.
You know, like all my buddies in UK that I want to really get that together with. You've got, you know, Darren, Gadget Devo, You've got, you know, official Mr. Dave West. You've got Life of Tech, Mr. Roger Michael. You've got you. We're all based in UK, you know, and I definitely want to make something like that happen, man.
For sure.
Bring the UK team together and make that happen without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. Have you got another topic to cover?
Yeah, 100%.
We've got. I didn't write any of mine down, but I have.
I've got one. So, where are all the quick charge 4.0 chargers? Qualcomm. Please. Because I wanted to touch on this and kind of, this was probably going to be a quick fire one, and this might actually round up and close up the stream, which is not a bad thing. We've been going for 3 hours and 3 hours strong almost, and I'm really happy with that for our first collaboration. You guys as an audience on both channels have been absolutely phenomenally great. We really appreciate every single one of you, your questions, your engagement. It's really just fueled this collaboration to, as much as it's getting to 3 hours, to me it feels like 5 minutes. It really does feel like 5 minutes.
I'm still gonna push until we can make the stream as long as possible. So I'm gonna be fighting Ben and being like, mate, we're gonna take this to like 6
I'm game.
hours.
Listen, I'm game. I'm game. Most live streams are meant to finish in an hour and a half tops. We've broken that, so I'm game. I already mentally budgeted, so I don't know if you're ready.
I'm ready. Like,
I don't know.
I've got my beautiful assistant Katie making me some food. I'm
solo. I'm Han Solo right here, you know. I'm a Han Solo right here, so I'm going, man. I'm going. No breaks, no breaks. I'm in beast mode right now. So yeah. Where are the quick charge 4.0 chargers? Now, let me see if I can actually bring up a quick charge 4.0 specs. Let me see if I can bring up the specification, because they were saying something like 15 minutes charge gives you half of your battery.
Right.
Let's see where quick charge 4. I don't know if I can actually find the specifications for it. Features. Because there's the newer phones. The newer phones support quick charge 4, but there's no power bricks. There's no external power banks that I've been seeing. All I've been seeing is the USB Type-C power delivery versions.
Do they not come in the boxes? With the
no. So I'll give you an example. This is why I'm bringing this up. The HTC U12 and also the LG, because one of my buddies works at LG, so he clarified to me that the LG G7 ThinQ supports quick charge 4. Right, but they just don't supply it with a quick charge 4 power brick. They supply it with a quick charge 3 power brick. Now, if you know anything about the quick charge 3 specification of the quick charge 2, the speed difference isn't really much. There's not much of a speed in terms of increase in quicker recharge time with quick charge 3. What you're getting is better heat efficiency and better efficiency, right? They're managing the heat dissipation a lot better. Compared to quick charge 2, the efficiencies are a lot better, which is obviously going to help in terms of making sure that the components, like you said, they don't damage as quickly over time, right? You know, so that's what. But quick charge 4 is really meant to close the gap and make it much more open as a standard in terms of the open licensing, and it's really meant to go toe to toe with Huawei supercharging and Oppo's Huawei supercharging and OnePlus's dash charging, you know. So I can't remember where it is. I can't remember where it is. Where the specifications were. Oh, I'm so baffed. Is this what one of the printouts is? Quick charge for 5 minutes, 5 hours. Qualcomm had a I don't know if it's here, if it's the one that I'm looking at. Qualcomm's, yeah, I'm not even seeing it. GSM Arena. Everything you need to know about quick charge 4. No. But yeah, I'm gonna bring it back and basically say, where are all the quick charge 4? And the reason why I'm saying that is, I've got my RAV power. This is a beast, 20,000 milliamps, quick charge 3.0. Then you've got the Smart IQ charging, where it just regulates the power correctly to all other chargers or devices that are not quick charging, and will charge it as quickly as possible. I use that to charge my iPhone 10, and it charges it much quicker than the standard plug that comes with it, and it regulates it well. You've got USB Type-C, which is also for power in to recharge the device as well as power out. So newer devices like your MacBook Pros, this can actually charge it over USB Type-C, which is clutch. And you've got the micro USB to be able to recharge the device as well. So it's great in terms of that versatility, and it supports quick charge free, which is such a godsend, you know. But where quick charge 2 was such a big step over original slow charging and quick charge 1, quick charge 4 is meant to be bringing that same level of innovation, but on an open standard, because obviously the chipsets support it, the circuitries also support it. But I don't get what Qualcomm are doing in terms of, again, executing these products to have these power bricks, because I think this is something that will really close the gap in users being able to use their batteries and their phones for longer in more situations, and also just competing against what Huawei and Oppo and OnePlus are doing. You know, so my question is, like, where are the quick charge 4.0 chargers? And it's annoying because these phones, man, when you really hammer them, they suffer in terms of like your screen on time, their usability. And I really want to be seeing Qualcomm really pushing these. I think this, yeah. So that's kind of like, you know, what I wanted to kind of bring up, and what are your thoughts on it? Because again, you did a great topic on that.
I think that with I'm not a huge user of quick charge. I tend to, because I carry two phones. One of them is usually charging whilst the other one is being used. But I think that with Qualcomm and their quick charge 4.0, I think it's very controversial. And for me, it's something I can explicitly say I hate, that they're not releasing the phones with the chargers in the box. It kind of makes a big it's kind of like, you know, when the iPhone could do quick charge, but they never sold the cable. You had to buy that separately. And there were a lot of arguments on Android side saying, like, why is this not a thing? That's stupid. And they were almost laughing at it. And I think it's a similar situation with this, where you have that capability and it is possible, but they're not being sold. Maybe it's because they don't have the supply, or they're just they haven't gone through that, you know, because obviously when you use power devices, there is a lot of rigorous testing that has to go through and a lot of certifications that have to be passed. And maybe they just haven't quite finalized certifications for different countries and different regions, and that's why they thought if we release it for one country, it might be unfair to the rest of them, so they're still finalizing that. But yeah, I think that even though I don't necessarily use fast charge, I think the fact that these phones, one of their main marketing standpoints, is do you have access to them? I think it's ridiculous that they don't have it, at least in the box.
And the Apple one is such, like, for the life of me, I just could, £75 will cost me to get a USB Type-C to Lightning cable, right? And then if I don't have a newer generation MacBook, I can't use that charger. I have to spend money on a 29-watt USB Type-C fast charging power brick. All in all, £75 after paying starting price 1G for that phone. No, Apple. Yes, I'm grateful for my power brick my power bank being able to do that. I'm grateful for the fact that I have an iPad charger. But again, that iPad charger, I don't know if that is really certified to be able to give it the right juice. Yes, it does fast charge it quicker, but I don't know what damages it's doing to it because it's unofficial. Apple have never openly made a statement that you can use your iPad charger as a means of alternate for fast charging. Yes, it works. It works, right? And the difference between the iPad charger to the official one isn't that much of a difference where it's worth going out to buy it. But I don't know what long-term damage I've done to my battery because of that. You see, so this is where, again, like you're bringing a fresh perspective on that in terms of, like, you know, certification, and I think it's another problem that Samsung face, because Samsung are still stuck on adaptive fast charging / quick charge 2.0 because they are on this legalized middle ground dabbling with Qualcomm, in their own in-house system on the chips and how they behave differently to their circuitries, right? So Samsung are still stuck on Quick Charge 2, which it's as great as it's still fast charging, but it's very, very inefficient when it comes to heat management. It's really, really bad. Quick Charge 2 is really bad when it comes to heat dissipation and heat management. It's not efficient in that manner at all. It really isn't. It really, really isn't. So
I think that, yeah, it's definitely something that needs to be addressed, but I don't think there's much we can do about it. And ironically enough, I don't think it's much that the companies can do about it until they have that cohesion between the off-brand chips and then the in-house chips, and then also the certifications. If that is something that needs to happen, like it's having all of that happen at once. And someone in the chat saying they're saving it for the next generation. I don't necessarily agree with that. They've got they just haven't got the charging bricks. Yeah, that's one problem. So the phones have it. It's just the actual bricks don't.
The bricks, so, So I'm more referring to not the compatibility or the feature. The feature's there. The feature's there. But why isn't the feature being launched with the correct hardware or accessory to take advantage of it? This is where I'm coming from. So, you're bringing more of the perspective of, it could be certification, business, and execution, which makes sense. Different regions use different circuitries, different plugs, different regulations. It really, if you're looking at it from that angle, and funny enough, I didn't think about it from that angle, which I usually do, but I didn't, right? And this is what brings the conversation through. So it's great, but I'm very eager to see these come to market to really kind of usher in that final push into this is what we need to now do for smartphone batteries to really get it to the next level, right? Where you have the 5 days of genuine battery life, like genuine usage. 5 days. We need to get to that point where it's like we need to aim for that, So
no, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, this is why I wanted to kind of bring a short topic of where are the Quick Charge 4.0 chargers. So
yeah,
there are other topics that I have, but I want to kind of save them for another occasion. And
I'm just trying to think. I had a bunch, but I haven't, like I said before, I haven't written them down. Let me think. So if we're on the topic of, actually, you know what? This can be something we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
What about the implementation of QuickSync with Adobe programs?
Oh my goodness! Released. Oh my days, man! It's been. Why have you taken so long to do that, Adobe? Why? Like why? I bought my 4790K, which is based on the Haswell Devil's Canyon platform on the Z97 chipset on the last generation of DDR3 memory 4 years ago, right? It's a 5-year-old platform. Why have you taken so long to implement that? It's made my system change in terms of my editing workflow. Minus timeline scrubbing, my rendering for heavy effects on the timeline is so quick. My export is basically 1-to-1 ratio. It's on a 1-to-1 ratio, considering this is a 4th generation quad core with hyperthreading with 8 threads running at 4.4 gigahertz is what I've overclocked it with my all-in-one liquid cooler.
Yeah,
it is phenomenal. It's like, oh my goodness, it really, really shows how useful and how powerful that onboard integrated iGPU graphics accelerator is on there. It's very efficient for that. And if you consider the fact that for all how powerful CUDA acceleration is on my GTX 1080, for my integrated graphics to be able to do that and offload such a big task with basically no degradation or minimal reduction loss in video output, final video output quality, oh man, it's like I was considering getting Ryzen for the core counts to frequency to price performance balance, but I just won't have the benefit to get Ryzen anymore.
There's no point.
For me, there's no point. There's no point, and it's not because I'm a heavy gamer. I'm not that much of a heavy gamer, but man, Adobe. And what fascinates me is they made it such a silent discussion. It was like the least talked about thing about their major upgrade. But it's such like time, the value in time that I'm gonna save to be able to get all of that time back in final export. If I had a 6-core 12 thread, or Cannon Lake, supposedly Cannon Lake is gonna have 8 cores and 16 threads for their mainstream now, rather than their enthusiast brand, right? Imagine being it's gonna be crazy in terms of like true megatasking and true multitasking with high cores, with efficiency and high clock speeds. You'll be able to actually get like a really high bit export, right? A final high bit export, high bit rate, sorry, export in 4K, right? In a 1:2 ratio time, half the time of what the actual oh, I'm actually out again. Pause.
Yeah, so going on what Ben was saying now, with the ratio of live kind of the video to the export, is that back when I was using Final Cut Pro on my QuickSync based Mac, they had it was basically amazing. It was just the fact that you could, even with laptop hardware, you could release or rather render a 4K video at like 1:1 ratio, and this is getting extremely close for something. And remember, Premiere Pro and After Effects are leaps and bounds more powerful, in my personal opinion,
and more robust. Much more robust, much more flexible. You know, not to interrupt you, but you know, you've got Adobe Collaboration where we can remotely collaborate and edit on the same timeline. You know, for businesses and group projects, that kind of networking and remote working is absolutely phenomenal for Adobe, you know. So yeah, it's made my system like feel like a whole new system again, honestly. Like it makes me dread, you know, I still have to work in a proxy workflow just for better timeline scrubbing, which is another thing that I advise you to do when you're shooting in 4K.
Yeah, definitely,
man. Just go to Cineform GoPro Cineform 720p, let it transcode using an what do you call it, Adobe Media Encoder. It will still, you won't lose the final output quality. It will just make the scrubbing so much easier because it will mimic 720p footage. But then when you're doing your final color grade, turn on full resolution, and then your final export, it will just export with the original high resolution files, you know. So, you know, mine is still working in proxies, like heavy effects timeline, object tracking, and the final export. Oh man, the implementation of that QuickSync video encoding and transcoding it's been amazing. It's been amazing for Adobe Premiere. And it's a step in the right direction because I'm more optimistic to how they're gonna make that even better. And if they can close the gap and pretty much get it within a margin of 10 to 20% to even 30%, or let's just say 10 to 20% to what Final Cut can do, I think Final Cut's in trouble, in my opinion.
Yep. No, I think that's right. But also you got to remember that more than, so the majority of professionals, and I don't mean us, we are maybe
prosumers.
Yeah, prosumers, maybe beginner professionals, kind of in that prosumer. We might use like i7 and i9 based systems, but professionals are using Xeons, and they're using multiple Xeons per system. Some might have the 18, 20 cores per CPU, so 40 cores total. A lot of professionals are using that, and we and I have to say, because I'm a Xeon user, we are missing out on this QuickSync stuff.
Big time.
GPU. So I think that for the prosumers and for the YouTubers, Final Cut is in trouble, but I think for the professionals, they need, or for the professional system users, they need that. I think there's still going to be a larger need for Premiere Pro, because there's not how do I put this? even if you have Final Cut on one of these systems, it uses QuickSync as well. So on the prosumer stuff, it doesn't really make much sense to use Final Cut anyway. So I don't think it's going to change. But for the prosumer stuff, like the core IO based stuff, yes, I think that is going to make a huge difference.
Oh, it's automatically, when I look at proportion of what I use my computer, my base unit and my workstation for, it has made me change my mind on me having to purchase a Ryzen based desktop, even though the value to performance proposition, especially with their 2nd generation refresh going into their Navy or their Navi 7th, their 3rd generation 7nm process, I can't see, unless Adobe are going to give them the same kind of level of treatment where they're integrated graphics with Vega or Polaris or whatever they're gonna call it, integrated, gets that same level of love, right? I can't see myself buying that, because the time that I'm gonna get back for my editing workflow, being able to especially maintain working easier in 4K, which is what I want to do, especially when formats like H.265 is being able to use better compression and have half the storage taken up, right, and still being able to benefit from the quality that you're going to get from it, right? I want that. I want that. I want that. You know, when we get into those higher formats of shooting ProRes raw, and being able to benefit from those things, and I know that my hardware will be able to pull me through, that is already influenced my buying decision. You know, the value proposition of Intel, though they've been slated a lot rightfully for just being kind of like stagnant until Ryzen came and really gave them a kick up their backside, they've now brought their value proposition back into the game, you see. So yeah, 100%.
I think it's 100%. Just it's leapfrogging each other at this stage.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good term. I like that, leapfrogging. How has the live stream been? I think this live stream has gone phenomenally well. Like,
yeah, man.
I'm just that impressed with how my iPhone 10 has been able to tether with no heat problems at all. There's been no buffering issues. The 1080p 60 frames a second has been absolutely crisp. Because Periscope wasn't working, I actually upped the bitrate to like 8 megabits per second or 8,000 kilobits per second. So you should be getting a higher stream quality coming back when it processes on YouTube afterwards as well. It's actually been streaming on Twitch. Again, I've not even done Twitch properly. I just put basic settings and just let it do its thing. It's working on Twitch like a friggin' charm. So I'm even more excited to actually pay more attention to Twitch and making sure that that is also an avenue that is getting more live streaming love. We'll figure out Periscope. Hopefully we can get Periscope working next time. But yeah, no, in terms of us as a content creator, with the new upgrades that we've got coming through, I'm excited to, I'm just excited to create again. You know, I'm really just excited to create again, and not just create in terms of just videos. I'm after just pulling off this live stream with what we've done, I'm actually genuinely ready to step up my live stream into 4K. You know, ultra high definition. I'm really excited to be able to do that. For the A6300 coming in, it can actually externally feed out via the HDMI and get a clean 4K signal, which you can't do on any of the Canon hybrid shooters, not even on the 1DX Mark II. So just let that sink in. £6,000.
Okay, a couple of things.
Yeah.
One is Paul Tech, who's just joined the, I'm not sure, I don't know what you call it, like the chat kind of thing.
Yeah.
He said, "What's up?" So I said, "What's up?" And you know, when I was watching that EPOS Vox video, he said that the Z1 does not output 4K over the HDMI. It only does it internally.
Yeah, so the E1, the E1, the small pocket micro four thirds one, yeah, he was saying that it doesn't, and I think that's right. That won't be the problem for the E2. The E2, which is the cinema one for 2000, that won't be a problem. It actually has an SDI adapter. It has a clean HDMI out. It's got Ethernet built in. You can get Wi-Fi adapter for it, so you can actually, you know, live stream straight away. So those problems won't be there. I think it makes sense that at the price point of $250 from B&H, where, you know, if you get it and you import it, it will cost you $180. For all the internal recording it does, it's still very impressive. It's still very impressive, and I'm still very much, because I'm doing all these live streams and stuff, I might still get it as a secondary camera to kind of stick somewhere, because it's just so small and pocketable. And you know, so yeah, no, I did investigate that, and yeah, it doesn't externally, but for the size,
crispy A6300 is going to.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah,
oh, I'm so
oh
excited.
yeah. It makes me genuinely excited to invest in an external recorder like an Atomos Ninja Inferno or Shogun, because yeah, those are just awesome. They're just awesome. Come on.
Yeah, they're great, and you get the benefit of an incredibly high quality external field monitor as well.
And this is what I mean about for that value, right? Minus rolling shutter, every other thing that you can negate and fix on the A6300, you can actually use that for a very, very long time in terms of video production, right? Compared to a Canon hybrid shooter. And this is where my problem is with what they're doing, that you have to get into their cinema series to be able to benefit from that. And remember, like I said to you, that even the 1DX Mark II to me does not make sense of videography, because what I've noticed from it is it is just a very expensive, really good 1080p video camera. That's actually what people use it for. I don't see no content creator that has a 1DX Mark II touching 4K. I've never seen none of them touch it.
I know one person who touches it, and his name is David Lade, but he also, because he had the 5D Mark IV, thinking that the 1DX Mark II was going to do something different with the motion
codec.
JPEG.
Yeah,
but obviously it doesn't, and I think that he is regretting that. He loves the colors, but he moved from an A7S Mark II. So I mean,
yeah, and this is my point. And I think it's stupid. I think it's stupid. Sorry, I think it's stupid. Like, if you could negate all those problems with 4K external recording, I would forgive it a little bit. But it doesn't do that. It doesn't. So I'm gimped unless I'm unless I'm favored more for photography. If I'm getting that more as a videography camera, you've just, in my opinion, minus the dual pixel autofocus, minus the color science, yes, it has ridiculously amazing 1080p quality in terms of the bit rate. For 24 frames, 30 frames, 60 frames, and 120 frames a second, the bit rate is phenomenal. The quality is phenomenal, right? But my argument is it's still 1080p. No, not for £6,000. I'm sorry. No, I can't. Coming from a videographer's mindset, it really just bugs me when I see people make those buying decisions, and I'm like, come on, man. It's just not wise.
You could get an FS7 or an A9 or a C200 cheaper.
Yeah. And when people do that, I'm just like, it's just not a good buying decision unless you're predominantly shifting your workflow to photography. Then, for photography, come on, man, that 1DX Mark II is a beast. It's an absolute beast.
We'll probably still take an A9 over a 1DX Mark II.
Oh yeah, for me, as hybrid shooters, I just think in my eyes, yes, colors is nice, but I prefer working with something that's going to give me better dynamic range. Even if I'm going to work a bit more to get the color to where I like, I'll rather have the better dynamic range, the details, the better video features. That's where I sit, and it's not just mentally to justify my purchase of an A6300. I'm just thinking, yes, out of the box the colors are going to be great, and the skin tones are great, which is very important, but then I don't have any more room to work with because I don't have a genuine flat picture profile like C-Log to work with. That's where it's like I'm limited. Fine, okay, out of the box is great, but I'm limited. So that's kind of like my standing on it. I think you're making Ryan, I think you're making people hungry with your pizza.
It's so nice. Oh, I love this.
Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Absolutely. You guys should take a break. It's been 3 hours already. No, we shall not have a break. We are going.
I'm going to be like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't care. Ben could be sleeping.
Oh, my days. 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 Oh, man. This has been phenomenal. This has been absolutely phenomenal. Let's take some questions, and if there's anyone that's actually dropping any questions, I'm going to check my live stream to see if there's anyone talking about anything. Champion said he's hungry. Dude, if you're hungry, go eat. I'm going to eat after. In your I do want photography for want to do photography for GCSE. Dude, your glasses hurt my ears. Oh man, it's so funny, so engaging. Love it, love it.
I think that brushing on the topic for GCSE, a lot of my friends who did photography at GCSE level haven't touched the camera since, because it's a lot of bookwork. Because I did creative media, which incorporated a lot of photography. Yeah, there was a lot of bookwork. It was a lot of, especially nowadays, there's more theory and more editing. So if you really want to learn how to do, I don't know, because in school my teachers never really taught me a lot. They kind of gave me the the framework, and then I went and just YouTube is such a good tool for that. Yeah, it is. A lot of the people that I know who are photographers and cinematographers didn't do photography at school, and they just picked it up as a hobby, and they found it a lot easier to ease into it, because you don't have that pressure to do it to do an exam or anything like that. So but it's you enjoy it through the feel and just knowing what the process is. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you know, Matty Hapoya from Travel Fields, or previously known as Travel Fields, he pretty much said that in one of his live streams, that he was actually going to be a qualified doctor, and he actually did, you know, he's got a theology degree in the end, you know, but for those 2 things that he did, he ended up being into videography and photography, because he just went through the process of having to do like wedding videos and wedding gigs and stuff, and it just kind of broke out to be where it is right now, where his partner's Peter McKinnon. And if you don't know Peter McKinnon, then get to know, you know, he's one of literally the most explosive, you know, content creators that has come onto YouTube in a long time. So yeah, no 100%. That's a good point. That's absolutely a good point. Holy pizza, I want one. You guys should take a break. What PC do you use? Alienware with SLI configuration with GTX Titan XPs. Crazy. That's the Maxwell Titan XPs, I'm guessing, right? That's insane. That's insane. Yeah, wow. So this is kind of like, again, just thank you to the audience. Thank you everyone over at the FailTech family, as well as the Lover of Tech family, with the Tech and Chill Show Unplugged, with this live collaboration with Ryan and myself, Ben. Again, this will not be the one and the only time. I'm looking to hopefully do a round table. I'm gonna force Ben into making a WAN show just for us two. Oh, dude, the fact that I'm test piloting this on Twitch is testament to that being something that should happen, right? You know. To answer Braden, I have, how many phones do I have? There's a difference between have and own. Own, like, yeah. I think I may have, let's see, I have the Note 4, the OnePlus 3, the LG G2, a couple of old Sony phones, a Nexus 4 and a Moto Z. And out of all of those, the only fully functioning phone is the Note 4. So, yeah. That's a good answer. That's an absolute good answer. Yeah. I think from my side, that is pretty much everything, you know. Now pretty much everything. We've got a lot more topics to talk about, I swear. Right, bring it. Let's do it. Okay, so I will title them. Actually, I'm gonna write these down so I don't forget, because that's where the majority of my content for this live stream has gone out the window because I've thought about it and then just completely forgotten it. So let me write these down so that we don't give away any spoilers, and then I will send them over to you. But for now, I suppose we could talk about the one thing I really wanted to talk about is how many of the audience use wireless charging.
Oh, nice. Not my actual friends, none of the friends that I hang out with, my close friends, let's say, and close family, none of them use wireless charging. And a lot of my friends have Note 8s, iPhone 10s, iPhone 8, you know, all of these wireless charging activated phones, but they just don't use wireless charging. So I wonder if anyone, like, do you use wireless charging, Ben, or is it just fast charging? No. So this is the strange thing about my situation right now. 3 of the 4 devices that I own, the S9 Plus, the iPhone 10, and the Note 8 have wireless charging. The Pixel 2 doesn't, right? I don't have a wireless charger at home, right?
Right.
But I use wireless charging, and that's because more of the places that I go to that I work remotely have wireless chargers. So I find myself conveniently and subconsciously using it when I go to McDonald's, when I go to a phone shop, when I go to one of the offices, or when I go to a Starbucks and I'm working there remotely or something. I found more of the places that I go to living in central London when I'm on my daily commute out of work have wireless charging built into their furniture. So I'm finding that more of a benefit, not for when I'm home, because at home I don't have a wireless charger, but I have it when I'm going around in my day-to-day. It might not be the case for most people, but I'm finding it to be more of like, I'm just noticing it in more places where once I'm there, I just don't think, I just put my phone down and I realized, oh crap, it's wireless charging. And before I know it, I've got an extra 5% to 10% battery within that time that I'm there. Right? That is really cool. Especially what I've noticed is they are installing the fast wireless chargers that work on the Galaxy Note 8, the Galaxy phones, the fast versions. You know, so they benefit from inductive charging a lot quicker. Again, not having wireless charging, I don't think is a glaring omission. 2, I don't think is a deal breaker. But again, for me, and I think Samsung really were the ones that pushed this progression really well from when they went to glass back, because the minute they went to the glass back design on the S6, they put wireless charging in there. So immediately they started pioneering. Yes, there isn't a rule book for if you use a glass back, you should use wireless charging. There isn't a rule book for that, but at the end of the day, there is more function out of that particular form, which has a very high fragility, very scratch prone, especially with Gorilla Glass 5, and it can just crack. The crackability is very high, you know. So I will forgive it more if I'm getting something that will help the usability of the phone go further, especially when it's coming through something like battery. That's giving my phone more endurance to be able to use it throughout the day. That's a win. Yes, not a deal breaker, but that is a win, you know. So that's my standing on my use case for wireless charging, which is quite interesting. You know, you would think that it should be for home, but it's actually on my lifestyle around when I'm, you know, doing my daily commutes and stuff.
So we have a couple of people in the chat saying that they use wireless charging with the S7, weirdly enough, S7 and S7 Edge. Yeah. When I had that phone, I never used wireless charging. Not because I didn't want to, but I suppose I didn't have the opportunity to go and buy a wireless charger. I suppose that's probably why I don't use it, is because it doesn't come in the box or anything. Yeah. And I don't tend to buy accessories for my phone. So
exactly. So I'm in the same boat, but this is where I'm. My biggest pro for it is actually, you know, places around that are implementing it. Your restaurants, right? Yeah. Your retailers that are implementing it more. I'm seeing that more of a plus. Right, you know, I saw at a Vodafone store where, imagine a customer's there through a contract transaction that can take between anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. Imagine just being able to put your phone on the desk while it's wireless charging while you're interacting with someone. Within that time, you hadn't have to worry about, do you have a cable that I can use to actually charge my phone? Do you have a plug outlet? It's just lay there and it's charging your phone, you know, and you're in a store.
I think that's probably a really, actually, I'd never thought of that before. That's a really good use of it.
Yeah.
Because it's in a phone shop, so it's kind of more likely to happen.
Yeah. Well, so I've seen customers that are waiting in a phone queue, but they're sitting down, and where they're sitting, there's a wireless charger next to them. They've put their phone there. Their phone is charging. They've not had to mentally remember how. They don't have to mentally remember to get a cable, ask for a cable. It's just, okay, it's there, my phone supports it, let me lay there. My phone at least is going to charge while I'm waiting for someone to see me. My battery life is not going to be as low. Once I finish what I'm doing here, I can get on with my day. I've got more battery. But yet they probably don't even have a wireless charger at home. That to me is the biggest. If more places that you go to have wireless charging, that's where the win and the appeal for wireless charging is, not necessarily for home. That's the angle that I'm coming from.
No, I agree. And I think it's a lot easier to implement those because, one, they're more seamless, and two, when you integrate cables into places, it's easy to, and I know we're in the world where this happens, but I hate to see that it's always being vandalized. Some are being cut off, some are just being ripped out, whatever. When you have a wireless charger, it's usually embedded into the surface, and it's a lot easier to get away with people, trying to pull that out, or try and steal it. No, that's kind of where I challenge people to embrace wireless charging more, especially these companies that are just using glass for the sake of aesthetically nice looking phones. Your Honor 10s, your Huawei P20 Pros, your HTC U12s. I get what you guys are doing with glass, and it looks phenomenal. Like, I remember when I saw the Honor were doing their launch of the Honor 10 in their pop-up stores, in one of the 3 stores, and man, the shimmery effect on that glass, it looks amazing. But I'm like, it's so light, and I'm scared it's gonna crack. I'm not getting any extra function out of this. So this is where I'm coming from that retrospect, that maybe not for home, because maybe the package of the wireless charging pad is so big, right, that it may not really help in terms of things like your carbon footprint when you're actually packaging the device and whatnot. Fine, I get it. But I think in more places that people go to, right, your coffee shops, your restaurants, the more you can put wireless charging in these places, the more of a win I see it. And that's where it's been a win for me, where I actually use wireless charging every day, not at home, but when I'm out and about, so that's where people need to see the benefit of that in that way, not necessarily, I don't use it at all at home, so I don't see the benefit, so. Yeah, no, I agree. I sent you over a list of what do you call those topics? If you want to, like, if there are some there that I've mentioned that you want to save for another time, then just let me know. Otherwise we can, like, there are so many there. I invite you to pick one, and let's go.
Okay, so there's 2 in there that I really want to touch on. I think one we've really hit the benefits of already. Our future plans for collaborations. So I definitely want this Tech and Chill show to really be not just for myself, but to really bring everyone into the conversation, really bring everyone into the conversation. And again, like I said, I want there to be a tech roundtable. I want this as much as possible because the tech news world is so really like fast paced and so many things happen. I want this to be something where if we can pull it off at least every fortnight between me and Ryan, it would be great to bring our communities together to really kind of bring that kind of like, polar opposites, but still on the same wavelength. What you call a kind of conversation between people to bring that perspective, whether it's sharing the reasons why wireless charging is beneficial, even if you've never used it before, and what could possibly change your mind to use it. All these things really help to educate each other on the benefits of these things, right? And also, I irrespective of the fact that he's in further down south to where I am on the national scale of geographics in UK, we funny enough have done the same upgrade in terms of camera gear we are pretty much in the same mindset in terms of, you know, content creation progression and what we want to do to improve what we want to actually bring to you guys and what we want to present. You know, I really want us to come together and actually do collaborations where we're both on camera with each other in the same location. Yeah. And I think we'll discuss what we can do with that. So watch out for.
We'll have to get me an Apple box to stand on because I'm very short.
It can work, man. The magic of camera framing can make you look taller and me shorter.
The camera slanted.
Yeah, so that we could work with that. We could work with that 100%. So yeah, future collabs is definitely going to be seeing more Tech and Chill Unplugged live show collaborations without a shadow of a doubt. Again, even making it much more better in terms of replay watchability. I'm hoping that Ryan will be able to get something like an Elgato Camlink very soon, or a Blackmagic Intensity Pro 4K capture card, so we can actually upgrade this live stream quality to 4K for you guys. Ultra high definition is something I really want to bring. It really makes it much more engaging, get the production value up, and also make the rewatchability and replay value much higher for anyone else that wants to engage after. So we have a larger reach and audience. So that is definitely one of the plans, or one of two or few plans for collaborations in the future that we have. How does that sound to you, Ryan?
I'm absolutely down for as many collabs as possible. I think the problem with small tech YouTubers, and specific, I mean, tech YouTubers more of a degree than gaming YouTubers, and I think specifically British YouTubers in the tech scene, is that without because I don't think I've really mentioned any names. Now, I'm not targeting anyone. I'm just thinking in general, and it's a generalization. But I think that there's a lot of my channel, I'm doing better than you. Oh
yeah, there is.
And without being mean to anyone, I think that's probably why we don't see a lot more collaborations in the small tech scene.
Oh yeah. But people are stingy with their follows.
I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
because I think even though that you might not see an incredible advantage in terms of maybe viewership or short-term gain, having that connection and that network is something that is absolutely invaluable. In terms of growing a channel, and also just in terms of experience.
Oh yeah.
Ben might have something like, for example, his smartphone testing, especially with his cameras. I don't have that level of detail in my knowledge base, let alone in my videos. So it's something that we can bounce off each other.
And again, you're not wrong at all. You're absolutely not wrong at all. And that is one benchmark that I set for myself. Oh, I think the stream has cut for some reason. Why? Are we back? Please tell me we're back.
Yeah, I think so.
No, we should be back. Yeah. Oh dear.
Sorry, did I cut off there?
No. I think the bitrate just spiked up randomly. Let me just drop it. We should be back. Sorry if there was a slight pause, but considering it's almost a 4-hour stream, it's done really well.
Yeah, that's not bad for continuous.
Yeah, for continuous tethering over 4G LTE, that's done really well. This is our first glitch. First glitch. Oh no, dude, that is a legit thing. I've seen it, and if you ever check any of my previous tweets, I'm very vocal about it. You know, I've sometimes unfollowed certain people that you clearly see how they behave, where it's like they are acting more than what they are, and I'm like, come on, man. It just exposes your agenda as a person, and it's not a good look. You know, I get the mindset that you're trying to pull, but it's just not the way forward. And sometimes even me myself, it might bite me in the back, but there's some of my subscribers that follow me on Twitter that sometimes I'll follow them back because I can see that genuinely they're just being genuine in their engagement. They're not content creators. They are not content creators. They're not. But it's just they don't spam, but they just regularly bring a conversation forward that makes me think different, and they challenge me positively, and I'm like, wow, I appreciate that. That means you might be someone that actually tweets and says stuff that might be useful to me. I will actually follow you, you know. So
yeah, for sure.
I know, and that is something I definitely, even when the birth of the Tech and Chill show came out of accident, right, I was very open about it, where I made it clear, like, look, I'm hoping to get people in this conversation. I don't want it to just be about me, you know. I don't you know, as interesting as I can make live streams with you guys, I think it will be better to bring someone else in with a different perspective to share that conversation, you know. So yeah, no, and I made it very clear. I said to you, like, it may sound like I have a chip on my shoulder, but it's the thing I really want to break and make a difference with the tech YouTube scene for UK, 100%.
Yeah.
So we're again on the same page on that. We're absolutely on the same page on that, and we in terms of the, you know, collab together, having the same gear, kind of ties into one of the things that you said, is both of us moving into the Sony a6300 and the Alpha series is just it's going to allow us to stretch ourselves in terms of our creativity with the footage that we can create, right? That's the part that I'm looking forward to the most. You know, it's gonna increase how we understand our workflow with videography, and it's also going to make it very easy for us to collaborate, because we're going to have the same equipment. We're going to be able to sample the same footage and be able to edit together and have that same principle that is going to help with our review and our storytelling, you know. So definitely the upgrades to, you know, the A6300 having cinematography features in such a cheap small package, you know, is so much more beneficial than kind of almost going the easy route, or going the easy route with caving into what Canon and Nikon are doing with their robust lens selection and kind of just what they're doing there. I think as a videographer, it limits your creativity going that route, you know, which I'm really excited.
I think one of the coolest things that I personally found about the use of a speed booster with the APS-C sensors in the A6300, which you don't get in any of like the 70D, the 80D, anything like that, is that you can't use speed boosters on that. I mean, it's very rare to find speed boosters that will convert other lenses, and if you're using a Canon camera, you have to speed boost Nikon or Sony lenses, which means you're out of that Canon race for lenses. And then when on the A63, yo, what's happening?
I think your thingy froze for a minute, so I had to kind of like reconnect you. But I think you're back to moving. Yeah.
Does it seem alright? Yeah,
you look good.
Cool.
We've had to get to like 4 hours almost to get glitches, so I'm happy.
I know, right? It's mental. Sorry. So yeah, with the speed boosters. Essentially, as we mentioned earlier, the difference is very close to full frame in terms of the field of view. So even with an APS-C sensor.
Oh yeah. This is the benefit of. Also, although I genuinely didn't have a problem with the Micro Four Thirds sensor. For me, it was just, it seemed like everyone kept selling you this thing of, if you want good autofocus for video, you have to go Canon. But I'm like, I get that, and it's not wrong. But then you're telling me to step down for my visual quality and my video usability of not having ultra high definition anymore. I think that's a step back. I think that is a step back. There has to be a middle ground, and this is where Sony, for me, just are killing it in that retrospect. And to me, the benefit of the APS-C size sensor as well was a bonus, was a benefit. Just being able to just, do the focal length reduction and actually just increase the focal length and have more stops at dynamic range and have the bigger field of view as well. Oh yeah, I'm seeing even before we even move up to something like an A7 III, I can potentially, minus the roll and shutter problem, A6300 can be a very, 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 very long investment.
Yeah.
For video, for what we can actually content create, which I'm more excited for. even I'm more excited for the fact that I don't think I would sell my A6300 unless something really went wrong with it. If I upgrade, I would actually have it as my B camera. Yeah, because I know that the footage that I'm being able to get matches to whatever the A7 III would be, or even, yeah, whatever the replacement. It will have that same principle science where I'll be able to match it to that. So it will be an excellent B cam compared to my A cam, you know, upgrade, which will be a genuine full frame, you know, hybrid shooter, you know, that would give me the amazing video features. So I'm more excited for that upgrade path, where I probably even wouldn't want to sell the A6300 personally.
Got you.
You know, so that's the angle that I'm coming from, to answer one of the things that you said there.
Yeah. I had a question in the chat. Blue Dodgerino is asking if you, Ben, have ever used ROMs on your phones.
Nope, never touched ROMs. I was not brave enough to do so, and I was an original Nexus 4 and a Nexus 5 user. Never touched ROMs. Never ever touched ROMs. I did custom launchers, and then I just got bored naturally, not because they're not useful. I just got bored, and I just felt like it was just better to judge a phone on the out-of-box experience that the manufacturer intends for you to use it, and then you judge on how good it is. So I'm one of those where I'm kind of against people that will probably review a product or a phone that is not stock Android. They don't review what the UI is based on and judge what's good and bad about the review. I disagree with
sorry.
Oh no, it's cool.
No, I didn't realize that as well. Apologies.
Oh no, it's cool. It's cool. I personally disagree with most reviewers. That's just my opinion, that you get these phones and you're like, okay, I'm going to I didn't even bother using the skin because I automatically think it's bad. I'm just gonna put Nova on it. I'm like, but come on, like, why not just review what skin is on there and say what's bad, say what's good, and just let people know, even if it's not an in-depth software review. Just say, look, these are some of the benefits. I don't necessarily see them as benefits. I think they are bad, they're gimmicky, whatever. Just let people know, you know, because there might be some parts of it that might be useful to someone, you know. So
I was laughing. So okay, so
no, it's cool.
I'm really sorry. So one of the things that I agree with that is that I think when you're reviewing a brand new phone, you definitely need to do it without a skin, right? You have to, or not without a skin, rather, without a launcher. I think you're right that you have to show it for what it is and for what most people will be expecting. Yeah. And most people aren't going to use a launcher, so like that's just how it is. However, I think it fits well with people who might necessarily get older phones, who are more likely to tamper and mess around with them, because it shows what you can do with your phones.
No, that is my answer to ROMs, and why I never really touched ROMs. I just wasn't brave enough. I didn't feel like it was worth my time and investment. But I did understand why people did it, because obviously in terms of optimization, it could also improve battery life. It could actually, you know, it kind of told Google what they needed to be doing in terms of feature sets for their Android upgrades as well. And it's very similar to jailbreaking. I was big into jailbreaking, you know, so it's kind of like a very similar principle, where a lot of the features that Apple have pretty much got through, you know, even something as basic as mobile tethering, it came from the jailbreaking community for Apple to implement into iOS, you know. So those kind of things are why, you know, I didn't really dabble with ROMs, but I definitely got their appeal. 100% got their appeal.
I agree with. I think the problem with custom ROMs as opposed to it is, depending on your phone, it can genuinely brick your phone. Whereas with others, like with the Nexus line, 9 times out of 10 you're going to get a perfect, as long as you do it correctly. Which again, it takes a process. It is a bit of a process to do.
It is a bit of a process,
and it's very daunting if you haven't done it before.
That's the part I just wasn't brave.
Yeah, no, honestly, man, there are especially with Samsung. I still haven't done a ROM on Samsung because I'm scared.
No.
Yeah, that is something that I think with newer phones, it doesn't really make sense to do, because modern phones, when they come out of the box, they're optimized anyway.
Yeah.
So the only brand new phone that I'd probably put a ROM or a launcher on are the Chinese Xiaomi and LG phones that don't have what do you call app drawers and stuff like that. I have to have an app drawer. It's just
it's just by principle. I agree with that. So yeah, no, that's my standing on it. Some of the other stuff I actually want to save for later. I actually do want to save for later. There's the last two topics I want to save for later. I don't want to spoil it. Wow, 4 hours, guys. This has been sick. This has been nuts. I think for me personally, mine has been a bit hungry. I think for our first live stream collab, this has been absolutely fantastic. There is more topics to come. There is more phone releases to come. There's definitely more things to go and pretty much bring to the table. I actually personally need to work on my Pixel 2 review. I need to actually work on my S9 and S9 Plus review. I'd been longing it out, but I think I need to do them. I just need to do them.
I just need to do them. A6300 in house.
Oh yeah. And it's funny. One of the things I'm looking forward to my A6300 having it is, I live in such a like my control of lighting is not as good as I would like it, because like my environment is not that easy to light up for some reason. So I'm looking forward to the low light performance. It will actually help me in my situation. You know, I'm genuinely looking forward to that, and all the comparisons I've been seeing with all the ISOs that I used to use with my G7 to get good performance in low light, the difference on the Sony in terms of the range I'm going to be able to get and still have usable footage, I'm more excited for that. So I'm really looking forward to those things.
I think there are a few things that I'm really I feel, because of the way I was brought up, that I'm really good at, I don't know what the word is, but like making the most out of stuff, but not necessarily in the conventional sense. For example, the other day, I don't know if you saw that shot that I put on Instagram of the RX100.
Yeah.
I took my Note 4, downloaded a like a flashlight screen thing, so you can change the color of a solid screen and it will almost become a little torch, like a little softbox.
Okay. Yeah.
Then I used a clamp that came off of a selfie stick, put that on an arm, which I put on a friction mount, and then I put over the top of it. And then behind I put a broken TV that would create that dark black, and then over the shiny part I put a black t-shirt, because there was like one small reflection I really wanted to get out of it, so I put the t-shirt on there. And like, I looked at that and I was like, if you look at how I set that shot up, it doesn't make any sense. But the final result. Yeah, so I think that's probably what I'm going to be doing a lot more of.
Yeah, no, but that's the creativity. It's the creativity.
Yeah, I suppose.
And then just being able to color it from like a raw state. It's really gonna really aid to like your storytelling and your cinematics and your cinematography, and that's, you know, that's the part that I'm looking forward to explore more and more, because just the people that I like to watch kind of influence that kind of progression in content creating for me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to what we can both do with that. 100%.
Yeah,
100%. But wow, I think that's it. I think that is honestly it. We've basically touched on a 4-hour first time live collaboration stream. That is awesome. Ryan, thank you so much for this collaboration. There's going to be many more to come, as we discussed in terms of future collaborations. This is just an awesome opportunity, and I just hope more people can see this and get what we're trying to do with the Tech and Chill Show Unplugged, and just bring everyone in the community into this conversation. And definitely want to pull off a roundtable one and just get people's perspectives on all the different things that they relate to differently in tech. You know, some of the people that I enjoy, you know, don't actually even review smartphones. They just review lots of accessories and how the accessories help them, you know. So I want to bring those type of people into the conversation, you know, because we're not really accessories people per se, but actually their perspective on what drives them to talk about accessories and stuff, you know, might actually make us more educated into what we need to actually kind of see, you know, from their perspective. So there's people that I've seen that I'm gonna be reaching out to bring in here. But yeah, that's about it. That's about it. So
I don't think I have much more to add. It was definitely a really cool stream. I think we need to do this a regular thing. I think maybe like a spin-off of the Unplugged series, like where it's just us two, or have more people and make a big thing of it. I don't know, man, it's your show, but I'm absolutely on board with anything you want to collaborate.
Oh dude, it's our show, man. It's our show.
It's good. I'm ready.
Awesome. Again, we are signing out. Ryan's gonna be muting out and I'm gonna close this out. And I wanted to say a big thank you to all of you guys for coming in today. Thank you so much again. Definitely, like I said before, man, make sure that you subscribe to both our channels so you can get up-to-date and content that is always up to date, fresh. Again, thank you for tuning in to the Tech and Chill Show Unplugged for the first live collaboration between me and Ryan from FailTech. Thank you guys again, really appreciate it. It's been absolutely awesome. Thank you for riding it out with us and the replay crew. Definitely, man, drop a comment, let us know what you thought of the live stream show. You'll be seeing more of this. And again, I'm your host Ben on Lover of Tech channel, signing out, and I will see you next time.